Hello and welcome back to the live reality game podcast. My name is Steven Stewart and I'm excited for more Surviving Reelfoot postseason coverage. And joining me today is a man who maybe had a little of Blue Ridge Survivor fall him into Reelfoot is Rafa. Rafa, how are you doing?
Whoop whoop. I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm excited. I'm excited for this. Thank you so much for being here to meet with me. I know you've been a busy day with family, so this will be a good. Well, this isn't a true cap to your day. You're doing another podcast right after this, right?
Yeah, doing episode 2 of Survivor Blue Ridge just came out. That was the first LRG I did last year, and gutting on the pod with Rye at 10 o'clock Eastern tonight to analyze episode 2. So if you haven't seen Blue Ridge season 2, you'll see me and Courtney, who were both on Surviving Reelfoot season 14. We both were on Blue Ridge season 2 last year in August. So if you want to watch us again, we're on that season 2. So definitely watch that as well.
Now, we're not going to spoil Blue Ridge, but there is a
Okay.
little shared history between the two of you that we will have to talk about when the time comes.
Absolutely.
All right, so you
I
have been
figured as
warned,
much.
Rafa fans.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately a little inevitable with how that final 7 round goes down.
Right. Yeah. That's okay. Things happen. And it was an entertaining season. And, someone's got to go. There's always one winner and at least 18 or 17 or 19 losers. So you got to have drama. You got to shake things up. You got to make moves. So, yeah.
So, Rafa, talking about your road to Reelfoot, you played Blue Ridge Survivor last summer. What brings you, or what brought you to Reelfoot? How did you find out about it, and what was that process for you?
Yeah, so I definitely got to Reelfoot with Blue Ridge being kind of that first stepping stone. Um, I've always wanted to play Survivor. This has been a game that I've loved since I was 13, 14 years old. I remember being like 8th, ninth grade when I watched my first season of Survivor. And you can see all the buffs right here. I've collected like either me buying them or from games that I've played now. And my fiance actually made this board for me that I don't know if you can see it, but there's like
Awesome.
Survivor logos on it from a lot of the seasons like Vanuatu and Fiji, Palau, all that. But no, I've always loved the game because I'm a big competitive sports person. I'm a sports journalist now and a basketball coach, and I love games. I love competing. I love the thrill of it. And Survivor's always been my favorite game. I think it's the game that tests every part of you on a human level. Like people ask me, "Oh, you played Surviving Reelfoot? Is that like Naked and Afraid?" I'm like, "No, like Naked and Afraid is just surviving like in the wilderness. It's not a game. It doesn't test you socially or how to adapt with people and handle people's emotions and how they're and testing yourself and doing challenges." Anyways, I'm going off on a tangent. So how I got to Reelfoot is I saw that Blue Ridge was one of the closest ones to me, one of the closest LRGs, because I've applied to Survivor many times, have always wanted to play, and still hope to get on CBS Survivor one day. That's definitely the goal. But saw that Blue Ridge was closest to me because that's in North Carolina, probably about a 4-hour drive from me at the time. And played that season. That was a 3-day game. I like 3 4-day game, like 3 nights, 4 days. But the first day started pretty late. So did that one, loved it, found the thrill of it, had a great time, met some great people, and I was like, man, now I got the itch. Like I got to do this again. I got to do this again, and saw that. And then a couple players from that season, actually just one of them, one of the players from that season that I played in Blue Ridge, recommended that I play Reelfoot because Blue Ridge, we got little rations for food and we stayed in a cabin with AC and there was even a coffee maker in there. Like Reelfoot, you don't get any of that stuff. It's the real deal, which I love. You can ask anybody that played with me this season. I was barefoot everywhere. I was eating weird stuff. I love the nature and the outdoors and how it tests you even more. Because I'm one of those people, like, you only get one life, and my philosophy is like I want to get the most out of myself before I leave this earth. And Survivor is a big part of that for me in terms of testing myself. So my training beforehand, actually playing the game, meeting new people, and just wanting to be socially adaptable and uh, physically able, and then also mentally strong. That's all encapsulates what I want to be as a person. And then Survivor is a great way to test that when you're out in the elements. So did Blue Ridge. Saw that Reelfoot was 8 days, not that far from me in Tennessee. It was probably a 7-hour drive, give or take, with stops and stuff. And applied to Reelfoot and played season 14. And that's all she wrote.
So you get cast for Reelfoot 14. Did you do anything to prep coming into it?
Yeah. So I watched season 13 of Reelfoot. I wish I would have taken handwritten notes,
Hmm.
but it was kind of like while I was at my job. So I was watching it
Hmm.
in the far plus like in the YouTube, which I now know to go to Facebook. I was watching the YouTube page of season 13 and was just watching that, but the YouTube page is just the challenges and then tribal. So you don't really see the strategy and the dynamics behind the scenes, which I wish I would have watched a little more. Plus, wish I would have watched your post game interviews because you really do get a lot of insight about what not Blue Ridge, what Reelfoot is like, and kind of like the strategy going into it and what it's like day to day, and uh, how it is for a longer game because a 3-day game, obviously, much faster pace, sometimes double elimination tribal councils pretty often. This is a little bit more spaced out, still a fast paced game because obviously CBS Survivor is 26 days, but you still have a longer time to build those bonds and build those relationships, which was one of my biggest things coming into it. I wanted to, uh, two of my biggest goals were to focus on building relationships and getting to know people because that's at the core of who I am. And also just being genuine about everybody having a good time because I know that if I'm the fun loving person that gets the most out of this experience, which is who I am as a person, it wasn't like I was putting on a front. But if I'm genuine about people having a good time, you're not going to want to vote me out. Like I'm a good energy to have around. I'm a good person to just feed off of, make jokes, and uh, also help you in challenges. So, anyways, prepping for this, a lot of it was physically, and worked on my balance in a bunch of different aspects, like different planks and boards. Physically, just working on explosive and agility stuff, just because I know if I was the most explosive athlete there in the tribe challenges, I'd be able to run the fastest or swim the fastest, and including swimming. Would swim like 30 to 50 laps with ankle weights on. That way, for sure, I'm the fastest swimmer out there.
Hmm.
And I would, that's why, man, why weren't there more water challenges? There's only like 2 where it involves swimming. And I did so many laps with ankle weights. Oh, it's cutting out a little bit.
No,
Anyways,
you're back.
okay. I did so many laps with ankle weights on, and I was like, man, no one's going to be able to touch me in the water. And it was true, but it was only one challenge well, 2 challenges that really showcased that. The first one was like one short sprint, and that's it. And then it was just about stacking the tiles to get it to a certain height. And then the second one, I forget what it was, but it was only one time where I swam out there. So it wasn't as prominent.
There's a
But
history of people
watching
really.
Survivor 50, yeah. Oh yeah,
There's
go
a
ahead. Go
history
ahead.
of,
Sorry.
of water challenges not going well in Reelfoot and players struggling a lot more than production expects. I think production is always a little wary of excessive water challenges.
Swim with ankle weights on. It helps you deal with it. Deal with the actual water.
Now,
Yep.
I want to talk about your profession because you're a sports journalist and a coach, but you come out and you tell people that
Yep.
you're only a coach. Tell me the reason for that.
So my job is to basically I cover Georgia football. I'm wearing this right now. This is my alma mater, UGA, go Dogs. They're one of the top football programs in the country. If you're a college football fan, and even if you're not, they're like one of the best at what they do. So I watch them every day. You see like the culture of winning and kind of like their day-to-day operations, their mindset, and just being around that is amazing. Like I love listening to the coaches and the players because I interview them all the time about just different strategies of the game, about their opponents, about what's going into their mindset. And just being around that competitive culture is very helpful for me because I take lessons from that and apply it to my own life. And my job during games, so this is like during the week where I'm interviewing people. Then at the game, I'm in the press box. My job is to basically watch 22 people on a field and take notes at the same time. So I'm like looking crazy, like, okay, boom, 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 boom. And I take a bunch of notes and things that I take away, and then I condense that to make it into a story. So I'm
Mhm.
looking at patterns, I'm looking at trends, I'm looking at statistics, I'm looking at uh, key moments in the game that define people. And then after the game's over, and I have the story basically written up, I still get quotes from people, and I really try and pride in myself in making eye contact with people and not just asking like the cookie cutter questions that, and I'm not going to get into the sports world and what's a cookie cutter. And I commended you for that too. When I
Thank
texted
you.
you, like, You don't just ask the cookie cutter questions. You ask like the deep cutting questions that make people really think and understand that you're trying to understand them, not just like, oh, what did you think of this? No, you like, let's talk deeper. Let's talk
Mhm.
about what was going through your head during this moment and what how did you prepare for this and all that, like really get into it. So even though there is like a certain barrier between journalist and player or journalist and coach, I try and connect with them on a deeper level as much as I can with that barrier, because these guys are trained to deal with media, because all journalism is journalism. There can be bad journalism and people can come out with bad stuff about players. So a lot of the people that are in athletics are trained to deal with media and handle them professionally, maybe not be as vulnerable as they want to, but I try and break that as much as I can. So my job is to basically analyze a lot, take it all in, and then try and break people down as much as I can when I'm asking questions so that they give me the information that I want. And that's what I do. So I
So
didn't want people to know that.
when you arrive on site, you're seeing the cast for the first time. Before we talk about Courtney, was there anyone else you recognize? And then after you talk about anyone else, talk about seeing Courtney there.
So I did not recognize anybody. It was funny when we all first arrived, because they texted us each, because we got there separately. People that flew drove in a car, but people that drove stayed in a hotel the night before and then drove the next day. So I was one of those people that drove and got to the site, and then uh, stayed in a hotel, and then got to the site the next day. I get there. Excuse me, that was a big burp. I got there and I was like, okay, they're gonna let me know between 9 and 10 o'clock when to arrive, and then all of a sudden I get a text, hey, arrive at 12:45, because they gave a time for everybody to arrive. So I get there at 12:45, like I have 4 hours in my hotel room doing more balancing stuff, doing some jigsaw puzzles, just getting mentally ready. Like I wrote down like winner of Surviving Reelfoot 14, Rafa cruise. Like I'm trying to visualize it, everything, like whatever I can to prepare in these last 4 hours before I go. All of a sudden I get there, and the production member that's escorting me into the shed where everybody's at, they're like, hey, you're the last person to arrive. I'm like, oh shit, like I don't want that. Like I don't want this big entrance and all eyes on me for like at the last person to arrive. So like when I got there, super nerve-wracking. Like I could see everybody's eyes on me, and like I wanted to come off as like happy-go-lucky guy. I'm Mr. Meat Shield, like work with me. Like I'm okay with putting myself out there in the beginning as like I'm a meat shield. People will want to work with me. My whole game plan was be a meat shield and take all the bullets, but then I'm the person with the dagger behind my back. Like that's what I said in casting. I did that exact motion. That's my game plan. So in the beginning, I'm not as afraid to put myself out there and prove my value in tribe challenges. But anyways, when I got there, I had like this big smile on my face while everybody else is serious, which I thought, because I see all these serious faces looking at me like,
Yep.
and I'm walking in there like, whoa, what is this? Blah, blah, blah. Because I kind of hiding my profession, I wanted it to come off as not as intelligent or
Mhm.
someone that's a quick processor or anything like that. Like I wanted to kind of come off as, um, and it was real unauthentic, because I love this game and everything kind of wowed me. Like every challenge was awesome, and
Yeah.
just being there was an amazing experience. So when I got there, I was looking for Courtney, because I know after my Blue Ridge season that two people from my season applied. I know that Courtney and then another girl named Abby also applied. So I knew that going into it, and that was part of my like mental prepping. I was like, okay, what happens if they're on the other tribe and don't want to work with me, and they're spilling the beans of who I am and blah blah blah? Or what if they're on my tribe and they do want to work with me? Or if they're on my tribe and they don't want to work with me? Like I was mentally preparing for every scenario that could have possibly happened. Like I just, and then my fiance was like, stop doing that. You don't need to do all that. But I was still in my head like, okay, what happens here and there? So I look around the room when I'm the last person to walk in, and I sit down and put all my stuff down, and I don't see Abby or Courtney, and I'm like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden, in the cut, like behind Anthony, is Courtney, and she's like looking at me behind something, like smiling, and I was like, "Oh shoot, it's Courtney. Awesome." And she's smiling, so I'm like, "All is well." I know we're on different tribes because I'm wearing a yellow shirt and she's wearing a blue shirt, but this could be something that's like underlying and something that takes over later in the game. That was my plan the entire time. Like this is something that because obviously Survivor is a tactical game. You want to be able to hide your prowess as much as you can until time to strike. So I wanted to, again, not show that I was like a strategist, like I'm just Mr. Meat Shield and I don't really know how to play this game, and have someone in my back pocket that could potentially, we take over this game and we take it to the end. So I see her, and we locked eyes for a second, and then walking to that first challenge, because we were in there for a few hours, just waiting for things to get started, getting our bags checked to make sure we've got everything we need and all that. We walk to the first challenge and we try and find ourselves next to each other. And I whisper to her, I forgot who said it first, but like uh, one of us said, I got you. And then the other one said, same, I got you. And we just walked to our separate mats. That was it. So that's how the game started. I only recognize Courtney. I'm not really a super, and I do want to watch more LRGs, but I have not watched that many LRGs, so I did not know anybody else that was there.
So you end up on the yellow or the Intaku tribe, and for a season called Dreamers versus Doers, you are classified as a doer. Is that something you agree with?
It is something I agree with. When they first said it, Dreamers versus Doers, I was low-key like, okay, is this the Dreamer tribe or the Doer tribe? I wasn't sure, because I could see myself as both. But I'm definitely kind of what I was saying in the hotel room. I'm a big manifester, so maybe not a dreamer, but a manifester. I try and write things down, and I visualize it in my head, and then I go and do it. So that's kind of who I am as a person. I am an ambitious person. I have dreams. I have goals, but definitely get things done. So when I was proud to be on the Doer tribe. I don't know how I would have felt if I was on the Dreamer tribe and not the Doer tribe. So I was glad for the placement.
So you win the first challenge, you get to your new camp,
Yep.
your tribe is setting things up. How do those opening hours of the game go for you? And are there any important conversation connections that you make then?
Well, during that first challenge, I want to talk about that first, because the first challenge was kind of like an eye opener for me right away. Like I said, I know that it puts a big target on your back to be the big physical guy that's good in challenges, blah blah blah. But that's kind of like old school Survivor. Like people don't really think like, oh, we got to get the big guys out first anymore. Like that people in Survivor like correct and overcorrect and then overthink themselves and just kind of like bleh. Like it's normally I'd be the first merge boot, but luckily I was able to get further than that. Survivor's evolved in a big way, but at the same time, uh, I know that I need to fluctuate how I am perceived as a person and as a threat, because I know it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when my name is thrown out there and I'm considered a threat. Just because I know that I'm a social person, I know that I'm physically capable, and later on in the game, I proved that I can persuade people and again use my interviewing skills. I've been in sales as well, learning how to persuade people into believing my story. Because again, I'm a journalist, big stories, and making sure that hey, Steven's really good. Like he's very social and he knows how to talk to people. He just brought up blah blah blah.
No, don't put that on me,
I
man.
like planting those seeds is a bit. Yeah, I know. But anyways, first challenge. Again, I'm a big outdoors person. I will do anything. I got the most eclectic diet award at the end of the season because of what I ate. So before the first challenge, I picked up an alive worm and I ate it, and I was like, it tastes like earthy lettuce. Like it's not that bad. Like I thought it was going to be terrible and it was going
Even
to taste like
like
poop or something.
hour one of the game, you already get a worm.
This is like before the challenge even started. Like this is me, like first impression, like just coming off as the guy that just eats worms. So, but then Larissa, right after that, tried to hand me like the tribe staff, like the thing with the Intaku on it, and was like, and they knew I was a coach. So they were like, team captain. And I was like, no, 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 no. Get out of here with that. Like I said, I have to make sure that people don't see me, because the tallest weed in the grass gets cut. That's how Survivor is.
Yep.
Like you do something really good or you're perceived as something really good. Um, so even though I was okay with putting myself as a meat shield, I saw Eric and I was like, I want him to be like at the forefront, not me. Like I don't want to be team captain, whatever. So that first moment, I was like, okay, we got to reel it back. I didn't even do anything that much. I just ate a worm. That's it. But they were like team captain and handed me the thing. And I was like, no, we're not doing that. So uh, had to make sure that I was managing my threat level from then on. And that was my game plan. So anyways, opening
So
conversations. Sorry. I talked about
yeah.
the challenge, opening conversations. Um, really good. I found myself in a really good spot, which uh, if you've watched the game already, I was very fortunate to be in a very good spot almost the entire game when I was in, and got to know Anthony and Larissa really well. Got to know Aaron well, maybe Aaron more a little bit later, but got to know Eric, and I feel like we had a thing that we knew we needed each other because he's a big guy, I'm a big guy. If one of us goes, then the next one's going to go right after that. And even though that sounds cliche, it is what happened, and it is true. So it really is like we need each other as shields, and that was part
Mhm.
of my thing. Like I'm a meat shield, but I also need people that are threatening in different ways around me so that I'm not the big blaring target with neon lights saying, "Hey, this guy, get him out." I don't want that. So, um, I felt like I was getting along with everybody. Like I said, I'm a happy-go-lucky person. I'm very much like immersed and present in the experience. I'm not anxious in social
Mhm.
situations. Like I wasn't worried about being the first boot or second boot or anything like that. I just really hit the ground running and talked to people and got to know them. I didn't talk any strategy. Um, just making jokes, having fun. And that first challenge, I really did have a strong showing because I did put myself out there. We had to carry a heavy snake, and I'm a cardio beast, like, and Eric is too. But I know if it was any race, I would have won. But I'm carrying the snake. I'm in the front carrying the snake. Then we get to the slingshot. I hit
Mhm.
5 out of the 10 for our tribe. Got the lead in that part. Then we get to the next part where you're balancing a paddle on a ball. I did that very quickly. And then when I was a partner with Eric for the last part, we did that very quickly. So I had a very strong showing, and I know that I put myself out there right away, but it's not something that I'm afraid of.
Talk to me a bit more about Anthony and Larissa. What led you to connect with the two of them, and when did you formalize something like an alliance with them?
Yeah, so again, I know that people will perceive me as like, I want to work with you because you look like a big target that can block me. So I knew that they thought that, and everybody thought that when they wanted to talk to me. And I'm okay with that. Again, like my game plan is to use that to my advantage later, and then I turn it on them. That's all. That's my game. That was my game on Blue Ridge. Um, but Anthony and Larissa, like we just kind of had naturally fun conversations. Like we were laughing, we were joking. Um, and there was quickly a strong, probably top three of me, Larissa, and Anthony, with Leah as kind of like the fourth because Larissa and Leo were close. At least we thought they were close. Um, so that was like a four. But then I also found myself in the middle because I'm with Eric. I know internally I need Eric,
Mhm.
and I really wanted to get close with Aaron because he was the returning player, someone else that's also considered a big target. And again, I need big targets near me. And Sam, because Sam and Eric and I were like mainly Eric and Sam, but they can attest to this. Like around camp, I was probably like the third person that would help the most, but it was mainly Eric and Sam that tended the camp, tended to the fire, um, all that stuff. And I was probably so we were around each other a lot. So there was another four forming of me, Eric, Sam, and Aaron, and I found myself in the middle of both of those.
Mhm.
Then again, you were on the pod with Aaron. He has his own perspective. You were on the pod with Eric. He has his own perspective. This is just how I'm seeing it through my lens in the beginning. This was
Yep.
my perception of like, okay, it's me, Anthony, and Larissa, but then with Leah kind of as our fourth, but also like I have a good option with Eric and Aaron and Sam,
Mhm.
and I found myself in a good spot. And I felt like that was good for me because again, Aaron, big target, returning player, Eric, big target, 57-year-old muscle man, like kicking it out here with the kids. Uh, like they're both gonna overshadow me. So, and Larissa and Anthony were definitely the more social butterflies. And that's why I love the way it's set up because again, the tallest weed in the grass gets cut. If you're considered the most social or the most strategic or the most physical, and even though I'm a well-rounded player with all three of those, I wasn't considered the most physical threat. That was Eric, and he was a little bit more out there and aggressive with his gameplay. And Anthony and like I am social, I'm very social, but I wasn't considered the most social. That was Larissa and Anthony. So
Mhm.
I felt like I was in a good spot because I'm not the most this, but people still want to work with me.
I'm curious about your thoughts about the box at your camp. You walk in the camp and there's a lock box. You can only guess what's inside. You probably need a key. What were your initial thoughts on that, and when did you slowly find out the information of what did happen with the box?
Right. So it was very interesting. And obviously, if you're a Survivor fan, if you're an LRG fan, whatever it is,
Mhm.
you know that if there's a box or some kind of thing, there's going to be at least a clue to something, or there is something in there that could be an advantage or an idol. So we all had our minds going, reeling in, like, what could this be? Is it just food? We see these letters in the trees that could spell something and could potentially open the perceived
Mhm.
lockbox, or I'm forgetting what the name of it is, but the where you
Cryptex.
yes. Um, so we see these letters in the trees and we're starting to say it, what it could be. And then we go to this challenge where it's a reward challenge and only five of us go. So five of us stayed at camp, five of us went on the challenge, which I don't know how I found myself in it. They just wanted me to do it. It was probably because I did really well in that first challenge, but it was a game of telephone, so it wasn't something that you do every day in Survivor, or is anything
Mhm.
physical that, like, oh, this is Rafa's skill set. Like, you guys just met me a little bit ago, but they were like, Rafa, you should do it. And I was like, I mean, I'm not going to say no. I'm going to be a yes man these first 2 days. Like, I'm going to say yes
Mhm.
to everything. So, went to go do that challenge and we lost, but we came back and found out that the box was open. And I knew that, like, people were being kind of cagey about it, about what happened and who opened it and all that stuff. And know that Aaron opened it, but didn't really know uh, other information till later, including that they ate some of the food without the other five there. Like, they, with the five that stayed, ate some of the food, but of course later found out that Aaron found an idol in there. So that's how I got that information. It was a little bit later to learn that, like, the food was eaten and that Aaron had an idol.
Aaron having an idol, did that change any of your plans?
Not really, because again, I need big targets around me, and if you have an idol, you stay around me for sure. And there was one moment on day 2, which Aaron might have said it when you were on the pod with him. I'm not sure, but Aaron and I weren't really super close in the first opening minutes, like I was with Eric or with
Yep.
Anthony or Larissa. But later on, we had a great conversation. It was me, him, and Jude at the fire one night, and we really bonded and were vulnerable and talked about some deep, serious stuff. And the next day, he walked back from a confessional. So he was at a confessional and walked back and came up to me, and he was like, you know, just so you know, like, I really like you, and I just said in my confessional, like, my gut is to trust Rafa.
Mhm.
Like, he said that in the confessional, and I was like, I will take that to the bank. Like, you can trust me, whatever. And because I need people that don't want to vote me out. Like, I want to be as
Mhm.
insulated as possible. I want to make sure that I am a hard person to vote out. Like, people get along with me, they trust me. And as much as, like, Survivor, modern day Survivor is about, like, making moves and blind sides and all this stuff, uh, one of the biggest skill sets is just being a hard person to vote out. That people don't want to bring up your name because they like you a lot and they trust you a lot. That's a big skill set to have. So, um, yeah, that's what it was like with Aaron in the beginning.
Over the second day, you kind of trade victories back and forth with the Blue Tribe. Um, from a strategy perspective, are you starting to hear names around camp, or is there anyone that you're kind of eyeing as someone you'd like to vote out? So start if you go to tribal council.
Yeah. So, a few things were developing there. So the first part was in the opening challenge.
Hmm.
They, before we even started the challenge, they said, "Hey, right now you have to vote someone to not participate in the challenge and go off to something else." So this is before the game even started. We just met these people. We have no
Yep.
idea what's going on. Jude turns around and says, "Hey, just vote for me. Like, I'll do this, whatever." We didn't know what it was. We didn't know if, like, they were going to switch tribes or if they were going to do a separate challenge or what was going to happen. But everyone wrote Jude's name down. Like, the psychology of, like, I have a parchment in front of me. I'm writing this person's name down. I'm already used to it. Like, I see Jude's name on a paper. So she was a target early on because people had already written her name down. Like, I would never do that. I would never be like, "Hey, you can,
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. Don't write my name down." Like, don't do that. Um, and it wasn't for anything like voting out, but you still, again, the
Yeah.
psychology of writing someone's name down, you know how to spell it now. You, like, they said, vote for me. Um, And then I would say Sam early on was a big target just because she was considered a little bit weak in challenges, but also she wasn't necessarily putting herself out there socially as much as other people, like getting along with people. I was always friendly with Sam. I don't think we ever had a uh, like a bad relationship. I think it was more cordial in the beginning, but we became better friends later in the game. But having the cigarettes there definitely did like ostracize herself, but also I'm sure that she got in her own head like, oh, they don't like me because I smoke cigarettes and I'm by myself. So just because she naturally kind of ostracized herself, she was a target. And then my plan from the get go was one of the J names to go out, either Jude or Jana, just because I know that Jude was very, very out there with her personality. I love Jude. We're good friends now. And she knew that I was responsible for her getting voted out first. But she was very out there with her personalities. Some people came up to me and was like, she's rubbing me the wrong way a little bit. So I knew that that was going on. But Jana was also another one that wasn't really talking to anybody, a little bit antisocial. And I'm one of those people too. Like, and I used to be more so. Like, I'm usually quiet until you get to know me. But I know that in a game like Survivor, you can't really afford to do that because those first impressions, I think the saying is like first impressions are formed within the first 10 seconds or something like that. Like you don't have much time to gain people's trust with your eye contact and with your voice and your enthusiasm and your energy. So those were the two that I wanted. So even though people were trying to get Sam out, I shifted it to Jude because I felt like maybe that I could work with Sam because I was getting close to Eric and Aaron, and Sam was close with Eric. I knew that. I didn't know that Sam was really close with Aaron, but I knew that Sam and Eric were close because they tended to the fire a lot and were around each other a lot. So that's when we shifted it from Jude or Sam to Jude, because I was the one that kind of like said it initially. And Sam was kind of pitching her case, and I didn't want Sam in the beginning. Like I didn't want her to go. I'd rather Jude have went just because I got along with everybody, but it's about who you can judge at face value for who you can potentially work with long term. And I thought Sam was the better option.
So you win the first mini challenge,
Mhm.
and that's when you learn about the eclipse twist, where someone from the winning tribe will go over with the losing tribe and will will strategize with them and grant immunity to one of them, kind of like a hidden immunity idol. It'll be
Right.
revealed after the votes are cast. This is a twist actually you never get the experience. The fun part of going over, you always get the experience, the receiving end of someone coming and meddling with your tribe. But talk to me about your thoughts on this twist.
I did not like the twist. Obviously, I'm think everybody on here has said that because it's never been done on CBS Survivor before. It's very it's a little bit overpowered. Like as someone on the other tribe, like sending someone over, you can basically dictate like how not how the votes go completely, but you can dictate uh kind of how the tribes shake out before the merge, basically, because you can save the people that you perceive as either on the bottom and you can bring them in later potentially, or just someone that is uh someone that you might think that you want to work with later. So you can kind of narrate like how the season goes because you save one person. And I desperately wanted to be the person that went over to the other tribe and talked to them and be the person that was eclipsed. That never ended up happening. I'll talk later how I threw the challenge so Eric could get eclipsed and it wasn't me. I threw way too many challenges. That's going to be a theme of what I say on this interview tonight. But I really wanted to be a person that went over there and eclipsed and talked to them because I wanted to A, talk to Courtney, and B, just get to know them and understand their dynamics a little more because we kind of knew their dynamics, but not to its entirety. And I wanted to get a better idea of that. And I felt like out of all the people on our tribe, like I could have gotten the most out of everybody because again, I have those interviewing skills. I'm able to process patterns and trends. Like I'm talking to you right now, I'd be able to look behind you and also see, okay, this person's talking to them. They're having this kind of body language. Um, just be able to do that. So did not like the twist. One thing I will say about the twist, if they were to do it next time, just kind of like evolve the game and as such. I think making it a different person each time, like not like Steven is on this tribe and he can just save uh this person every single time.
Yeah.
Like maybe you save one person one time and then the next time you have to choose someone else. That's what we all thought it was, and we thought it would have been a little bit more fair that way. just because you do fight for these social positions, and if you earned it, you should be able to keep it. And that's just kind of like a thought that we had on during the game, but I really do think it would make it a little bit better, because if you are on the bottom and you're getting saved every time, you don't necessarily have to work as much socially than the other people. But if you know that you get saved one time, but you can't get saved again, you have to be like, oh crap, I need to connect with this person. I need to connect with that person. I need to make sure that I'm still in good standing with the people I'm on the
Yeah.
tribe with, not just the person that's getting eclipsed and coming over. So that's the only thing that if they were to do this kind of twist again, is definitely not a every season type of twist. But if they were to do it again, I think that would be a good idea.
So you lose that second immunity challenge, and this is when Jude's gonna get voted out. Who you kind of said you kind of really pushed and made that happen. How talk to me about how you were able to make that vote on Jude, not Sam. I mean, Sam gets immunity, but still.
Right. And we didn't know who was going to get immunity at that point, but obviously after Sam got saved the first time, we kind of knew she would get saved consecutively the next few times. But that first tribal council, again, I didn't want Sam out. I kept telling everybody I want one of the J names. I want Jude or Jana. Like I don't really know either of them that well. I get Jude. Again, Aaron and Jude and I had a great vulnerable conversation by the campfire one night, so I felt better about Jude than Jana. But people kept, Jude was like a big topic of conversation with everybody. Like, Jude is this, like, and she's funny. I love her. I think she's great. And I feel like if she would have gotten past the first few votes, she really did have long-term game potential. But she was very much out there with her personality and like, and I'm an alternative thoughts person too. Like, I have very dark humor, and she's very much that too. But it might have gotten to a point where it made some people uncomfortable. And then Jude later reveals that she has this mutiny advantage, which she has hidden for, I think it was a day and a half or maybe a full 2 days. And we didn't know until the last minute, which, like, I didn't mind it that much. If I find an advantage, I'm going to try my damnedest not to tell anybody. That's my mindset. But again, it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. She says that she's not apt at doing Survivor. Like, she's not good at this. She kept asking questions of like, what is Survivor? Like, how do I do this? Blah, blah, blah. But then she hides this advantage for 2 days. So she's putting on a front, and she's better than she actually is, which is something that I'm trying to do too. That's my game plan, but I don't want you to steal my thunder. Like, I want to do that and be the person at the end on the jury saying, I wanted to get you perceive me as this, but I'm actually this. And that was something that we all, when it was revealed that she had the mutiny advantage, like, everybody's eyes were wide open, and it was very hard to get the momentum off of her. And she did a lot. She came up to me and said, like, I trust you the most. Like, I don't want to go home. And I said, trust me, I completely understand. I forgot what I said, but I don't know if she knew she was going home. I'm not entirely sure. But she left the mutiny advantage at home. Like, she left it at the camp. Because she wanted to show trust. She wanted to show that she was willing to work with everybody long term. So she did that, and she still went home because of basically showing that she actually can be really good and sneaky at this game. She kind of showed her cards too quickly, which is something that you don't want to do.
What was it like having Mary Ellen come over to your tribe for the twist?
So I was excited to see Mary Ellen because going back to that first day when we all arrived, and again, I was the last person to arrive in the shed where the entire cast is, and we're all kind of spread out. But you're sitting next to somebody on the other tribe. So there's a blue and a yellow there, blue and yellow there, blue and yellow there. I sat next to Mary Ellen, and we couldn't talk about the game that much because, we didn't want to, ruin the integrity of the game or disrupt anything. But me and her, like, we're chatting, we're laughing, like, we definitely bonded. I could tell she was a great person, and I was excited to see her. And I don't know how this happened, maybe because I'm too chivalrous, but I happened to be the last person to talk to almost every Eclipse person. So everybody that came in the Eclipse, I was either the last person or one of the last people, because usually Sam would talk to them first and then at the end also. But I was definitely like at the end because it was like a line, like it was like a, you're at the DMV, you're waiting for your number to get called to go to the Eclipse person. And I happened to be the last person to talk to her before then. And I was like, like we kind of talk to each other. We're willing to work with each other. Like, I like you a lot. I have a good feeling about you. You know, the typical Survivor thing where you just want to have your options open. But I really did feel good about Mary Ellen, and I was happy to see her because we had talked on that first day.
You then lose the next. I guess before we go, any fallout from this first tribal council?
Yes, just because after that, Sam got the second most votes. And, you know, when you have the eclipse, you have to think about right now and you have to think about the future at the same time. It forces you to choose who is the most person you want out and the second most. Like it's something that disrupts the chemistry within the tribe. It disrupts people's emotions, and people get people know that they're the target and on the bottom, and then they stay there because they're not voted out. They don't get sent home. They're still there because so Sam the next day was just like completely checked out. She was not talking to anybody. She wasn't tending to the fire. She was just smoking cigarettes and sitting in her own misery. And I completely understand. It's definitely not a fun position to be in. It's I don't necessarily know what it's like. I know what it's like to get voted out. I don't know what it's like to feel ostracized in the very beginning of a game because, again, this is only my second game. And and she was like, I'm sick. Like, I want to go. Like, she was ready to go home, and we were all kind of preparing for her to potentially just get sent home because she was feeling sick. So that was kind of like the aftermath of that tribal, was that Sam is not feeling well, doesn't want to talk to anybody. And now that we know that this eclipse twist is here, she might be here for a while. So even though she's likely our next target, she stays in the game because of the eclipse twist.
So you lose that next challenge. Shannon joins you from the Eclipse player. You're gonna end up voting Will. We haven't actually really talked about Will at all. What was Will like, and why'd you? And you don't technically vote for Will. You vote for Sam this round. But why was Will voted out here?
So Will was also someone that I wanted to work with. He was kind of like because I said I was working between two different groups of four that were slowly forming. And Will was kind of like the fifth for me, Anthony, Larissa, Leah, and then Will would be the fifth. That's kind of what was slowly forming. I don't know if we completely solidified that or verbally confirmed that, but that's like how we were moving socially and just like walking around. Like, that's kind of what it felt. But Will is a little bit on the younger side. He's 22 and has played a lot of these games before. And he just got like really socially anxious. And I feel for him. I really do. Because I had a lot of social anxiety, especially when I was younger. And, you know, I still experience it to this day, but I'm able to cope with it and deal with it and work through it better. But everyone coming up to me, just like, Will's freaking out. Like, we got to get him out. This is not someone that we want to work with. And Will, again, which I know he told Aaron this too. I'm sure he said it to everybody, but he was like, Rafa, like, you know, you're my number one. I trust you the most. Like, I want to stay in this game. And I was like, trust me. Like, I'm voting for Sam. Like, that's what I told her. I'm voting for Sam. And even though it didn't matter, like, it wasn't for like a jury vote or anything because this was pre-merge, but just to make sure I'm in good graces. And later on, Will was funny. Like, I saw a clip of him on the Shadowlands and was like, Rafa's acting like a dumb jock, but he's running this shit. I was like, no, don't identify that. We don't need that.
So we move to the gross food challenge, right? Where the winner from each tribe will be immune, but will end up being the close player as well and voting with other tribe. There's an agreement for Eric to be the winner for your tribe, correct?
Yes. Like, we were after the first round, because the first round was Lunakai tribe go up first, and then Intaku tribe. But then when it dwindled down in numbers, and I think the final 8 or something like that, like 4 from each tribe, and even in the beginning stages, I was first every single time. Like, I walked off, no problem. First was a bunch of sardines, which I was like, everyone's like, oh, smelly sardines. Ew. PU. And I'm like, that's omega-3 fatty acids. That's protein. Give me that. Like, I need some of that. Come on. I'll deal with any smell or taste. Then the second round is, and you can ask production or anybody there. Like, I kept shaking my head like, am I really about to eat this? It was cat food, bro. It was cat food. Like, you know how you're like I've never felt more dehumanized in my life. It was because I've got 2 cats at home, and I know they were watching me like meow. Like, Dad's doing that? What is he doing? And it was like basically this pate of like chunks and like this gravy, and then like these crunchy little worms. I don't know what the species of worms is called, but these crunchy small worms about this big. So it was like soft and savory, but with a little crunch. And I started eating it, and I was like, meow? Like, this is not that bad. Like, this is good. That was either the second or third round. And even though I was struggling beforehand, like I just ate it so quick and I was first again. Then I was first again for the next round, which was like the chicken livers and gizzards, I think, something like that. And at home, like I eat all of the chicken. Like you get a rotisserie chicken from the grocery store, like I eat all of it. And even sometimes, this is gonna sound weird, but I even eat some of the bones. Like that's just me. I'm a weirdo. So like I have an iron stomach at home, so I knew I could handle anything out there. And again, I ate a worm on day 1, ate a grub later, I think on day 7. So finished the chicken livers and gizzards, and I'm first again. And at the like we had said before the challenge that we want Eric to go, but I was still like, bro, like I'm easily like the best eater here, and I want to win immunity. I want to go on the eclipse, and I forget what the reasoning was to get Eric in there. But I was kind of like, why am I throwing this when I know I'm going to win it? And Vito ends up getting first on the other tribe because I think it was Vito. I want to say Danny. It was either Danny or Nay as the last person, the last 2 people for yeah, Eric wasn't rushing. He wasn't rushing because I was waiting for him. Like I was eating the last thing, which was sauerkraut, cockroaches, some kind of beetle or bug, and like wasabi, which again, I can handle spicy things too. Like I would have eaten that thing so quickly, but I'm taking my time. I'm waiting on Eric basically, just because I knew we were gonna have him win. And it just kind of sucked because that's not like in me who I am, even though my whole game was about managing my threat level. That was like the first challenge that I didn't do my best. And then I did it again a few times after that and didn't feel good internally. And I thought I was doing it for my game, but that's definitely something that I would change next time around. So, yeah, Eric ended up being the eclipse person. And then I believe it was Danny that round that came to us.
Vito comes
No,
to
it
you
was
that
Vito.
round.
Sorry, it was Vito. Vito came to us, and I didn't know about the Rhode Island Alliance, but I kept Vito. I love Vito. He's my Puerto Rican brother. Like if we were on the same tribe, we would have vibed. We would have gotten along very well. But again, I'm one of those people. Like if I see something and identify that this person has a great trait, I'm telling other people, hey, this person's. So when Vito came over, I was like, hey, like Vito's really good. Like he puts his hand on your shoulder. He has a very soft voice. He smiles. Like he's very good at drawing you in and talking to people. And I just planted that seed in the beginning when Vito was there. I forgot who it was. That the Jana vote? No, Danny was the Jana vote. I think that was the Larissa vote. No.
So
No, Danny was the Larissa vote.
This is the Jana vote. So you're gonna. So
This
it's
is the
gonna be
Jana
pretty
vote.
unanimous on Jana. Jana's gonna cast a vote for Leah. You mentioned that Jana and Ju were the 2 people you want to target. So this probably wasn't. This is kind of a no. This is likely an easy vote for you to target Jana here.
Yes, it was. It was kind of like process of elimination. Eric's gone. I'm not voting out Aaron. Not voting out Anthony. Not voting out Larissa. We know Sam's gonna get saved. We're not voting out Leah because I felt like Leah and I were getting closer. And Jana, I think me and her were getting closer towards the end before she got voted out. Like we had more conversations and like, again, I try and make eye contact with everybody. Like I want to make sure that you're locked in on me. You're not darting anywhere. Like you're focused on me and then you can tell me. At first, she wasn't really talking to me and making eye contact, excuse me. But then towards the end, like we had a couple one-on-one conversations and I was like, okay, like maybe this could be something under the radar that we could work with. But because I'd already had well-established relationships with other people, she was my target for sure. And other people, and it kind of became a consensus. And Eric says we could have kept Jana, but that's for Eric's game. That's not for my game. So yeah.
Had this tribe gone to tribal council one more time, who would have been voted out?
Have we gone? Is this after? So Was
pre-swap. We
Larissa
haven't gone there. Like if like Julian hadn't come over, if they just had to go to the tribal council again with this group of 7.
is Larissa already voted out at this point?
Nope.
No, not yet. So before the Larissa vote, who would have been voted out if it were up to me? Let's see. So we got me, Larissa, Anthony, Eric, Aaron, Sam,
Leah,
and Jana. Oh no, Jana just got voted out. So
yeah. So Aaron, Anthony, Eric, Larissa, Leah, you, Sam. Okay.
Sam would have been my pick. Yeah.
That night, you are selected. You get selected by your tribe to go to a meeting as a tribe representative, and
team captain, man.
Team captain, yeah, exactly. It's exactly what you wanted. And you get to design the tribe swap, in which you design a tribe not swap. Talk me through this. What goes through here?
Yeah, so this was my doing 100%. You can blame me for the boring twist, quote unquote, or boring swap. This was all my idea because basically,
I thought it interesting.
Yeah. So I get there first, about an hour before Logan, because I got chauffeured in an ATV. It felt great. I was like, this is cool. They floored it, put their pedal to the metal for the ATV so I could go fast for a little bit. They were like, hey, you want to go for a ride? And I was like, yeah. And that was cool. But then when they went to go pick up Logan, which I didn't know was Logan at the time, I just knew it was going to be a representative from the other tribe. Their ATV gets stuck in the mud.
Nice.
So I'm waiting for the representative from the other tribe for at least an hour. I have no concept of time out there, but it was at least an hour. Like it was the middle of the night. I'm just sitting on the porch with production, with Amos and Josh and Reynolds, and we're just chatting it up like for an hour, just asking questions, laughing. And the whole time in my brain, I'm like, what is going on? Like, was so fun. Yeah. Josh. My brain is reeling like, what could this be? Is this like Survivor Amazon where they have a representative from each tribe and then the names are put out in front of them and then it's like a schoolyard pick? Okay, you pick one, then I pick one, you pick one, then I pick one. Or could it be that me and the other person swap tribes? Or it could be that we're competing for a challenge and it's a hero challenge like Survivor Cambodia, where it's one person from each tribe is doing a challenge for immunity. And Logan finally gets there. All these cameras are on us. Like finally, when I get there, people have been waiting for Logan this whole time. There's like at least like 5-10 cameras and then more production people behind him waiting for this twist. And then all of a sudden we get a bag and there's 2 rocks in the bag. There's one yellow and one blue. If you pull the yellow one, which is Intaku, which was my tribe, you go to the Intaku tribe, but you get to choose how the tribes are divided. If you pull the blue rock, you get to choose which one of the 2 people there. So between me and Logan, who would go to which tribe. So ideally, one person would pick the tribes, and then the other person chooses which person goes to which tribe. Yeah. And again, I thought it was going to be like Survivor Amazon. If they really wanted a twist, do it like Survivor Amazon, where it's like a schoolyard pick. Like me and Steven are drafting right now.
Yep.
I'm on this tribe, you're on this tribe. Okay, you pick one woman, I pick one woman. You pick one man, I pick one man. Do it like that to make it more, shake it up more. But because I was in such a good position socially, why would I ruin that? Like, why would I want to put myself in jeopardy when I know I'm going to, again, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when I'm a big target. Why would I put myself in a potentially vulnerable position when my name hasn't been brought up and I know it's not going to be brought up for a while? So I basically grabbed the names, put I think it was 7. Yeah, 7 on each. So I literally didn't say anything, put the 7 Intaku members over here, 7 Lunakai members over here, and looked at Logan and was like, what do you think of this? Like, he's doing exactly how we do it. And sorry, it was 8 in Intaku. Sorry, 8 for Lunakai. So 7 because they had the 8-7 advantage at that point. So 8 over there, 7 over there. And he was like, yeah, I'll do it. And I was like, hey, like, I feel like I'm in a good position. Do you feel like you're in a good position? He said, yeah. And then I basically put it on him, like, who do you want to exile? Because it had to be 7-7, one person exile. We didn't know what was going to happen with that. We didn't know if they were actually going to go to exile or what was going to happen with that. But he chose Julian, and he spilled the beans on what Julian happened with the idol, and he was pissed off at him, and he was like, maybe this could be a good learning lesson for Julian. Like, that's what Logan was saying. And basically, that's what he did. So I finally get back to camp again. This is the middle of the night because I waited for Logan for an hour. This probably took a good 30, 45 minutes to actually get this done. Get back to camp, and I sleep. And I didn't know what happened with Julian, and I didn't wake up. But I wake up the next day, get out of camp, morning, daylight's out, and I forgot who was there in the fire with me in the morning because I probably slept the least out of anybody there. Like I got up in the middle of the night because of allergies, but also just because like my anxious brain and being cold and stuff. I get up and they're like, "Yeah, Julian's here." I'm like, "What?" Because I fell asleep after I got back, but apparently Julian got pulled from their tribe and got back, and I was like, "Julian's here?" And then he tells us later that he was the person exiled and he picked a yellow or blue rock and he happened to pick the yellow rock, so he came to our tribe, which was huge for us at the time because we were down 8-7, and even though it was only one person advantage, it just felt like momentum was swinging in their favor. And we know that Julian just killed it on the puzzle. Like he beat us in like less than 2 minutes on the slide puzzle in the water. So that was a big advantage for us. Like we just got the twist in my advantage, and maybe not how other people on my tribe wanted it, but how I wanted it. And then we just took their tribe. We just took their puzzle guy. So it was definitely a good day for us.
You lose the next community challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to the tribal council with this new tribe. Now, Julian's in their tribe. Danny has eclipsed over, so you can probably imagine Danny is going to make Julian safe.
Yeah.
You probably want to vote out Sam here, as you alluded to before.
Yeah, I do. I definitely want to vote out Sam because I'm close with Larissa. And even though, like, because Larissa was definitely the social butterfly, I would say between her and Anthony. Maybe because Larissa was even like talking to production a lot. Like she's very much an extrovert and a very great person, likes to laugh and joke and really knows how to connect with people. So I knew internally that Anthony and Larissa were probably like the top two, and I was like the third. Because again, I know like having the strategy of being the meat shield, people want me to a certain point. It's not going to be to go to the end, but they want me to shield them to a certain point. And I knew the whole time whether it was I go with the 4 with Aaron, Sam, and Eric, or the 4 with Anthony, Larissa, and Leah, that they want to cut me off at a certain point. So going into that tribal, I obviously did not want Larissa to go. I didn't know she was going. So when Danny came over and eclipsed, I basically told him like, hey, because I wanted to try and connect with Danny. I told him like, hey, to be honest, I think it's going to be a split down the middle, and it might be up to you on who goes home, just depending on who you save, if it's going to be Julian or Sam, because I didn't know Larissa's name was out there. Which was a great move on their part because she really was like the social butterfly. And again, she took the target off me because even though I am social, I was not considered the most social. So obviously we ended up having a tie vote, and I kind of get dumbfounded because Aaron kind of takes a stand, stomps his foot on the ground, and is like, I'm going to rocks. And I just met these people. And even if I had known them for 7 days, like towards the end of the game or whatever, I'm not going to rocks for anybody. I'm going to go out with like on my own volition, not by luck. I'm not going to do that. So at that point, we have the conversations. No one's really budging. Eric says first, I think it was Parker or Amos, whoever was the host during that tribal. Okay, Eric, who are you voting for? And he said Larissa. And when he said that, everyone just said Larissa. So she ended up going home, and it definitely disrupted me a little bit, but I definitely put on a front of how much it did because I knew that I was going to be in a good place no matter what, and I was really focused on just reconciling Julian, who I got a good vibe from. It wasn't like we're locked in till the end kind of thing, but we were definitely just kind of similar age demographic. Like I talked to him about college. He's about to start grad school. Like we bonded on a personal level. I wanted to reconcile it with Aaron and Sam. So I knew that I had the ability to do that. So even though on the outside, I was kind of like acting like I was in a panic and I was, oh my God, what just happened? Like I really wanted to just stay even keel on the inside and and I was like, okay, we're good. We just need to make sure that we, grab rise from the ashes, so to speak.
And so had you gone back to tribal council again, what would you have tried to do?
And tribal council after that, after the Larissa vote?
Let's say you go back with the same group one more time in tribal council. What would you have tried to make happen?
And again, it all depends on the eclipse. Who's the eclipse person? Because at this point, it goes Sam, Sam, Julian. So
Yeah.
if Julian's eclipsed again, or Julian is saved again,
I'm
the blue
assuming he
tribe,
is.
the blue tribe might try and target either me, Eric, or Anthony. Just because Aaron, Sam, and Leah proved that they would vote with each other, and then they
Yeah.
brought in Julian. So that's 4 versus me, Eric, Anthony, and I think that's it.
Yeah, just you three.
So
Yeah.
I might have been on the bottom of the next vote, to be honest with you. So they're either voting for me, Anthony, or Eric, which I don't know who they would have gone for at that point. We were all threatening in different ways, and we weren't at the individual stage where Anthony won 3 immunities, so he wasn't considered an individual threat. But I'm sure the Blue Tribe is thinking, hey, let's get out one of their big guys, because that's kind of like oh yeah, let's just get one of their big guys out. That outdated strategy play, but that is what a lot of people's minds first go to. So I might have been gone after that. If it was up to me, probably just against Sam, just because I knew I could rebuild a relationship with Aaron. I knew I could rebuild a relationship with Leah, and Julian I was starting to get along with. And Sam, I felt like I confident that I could build a relationship with, which I did later on in the game. But at that moment where my mind was, I probably would have wanted to go for Sam again.
So you end up winning the next 2 challenges, and then you actually get a real swap.
Yep.
And this swap, it's going to work in your favor, but let's kind of talk about, on the mat, you're in these 2 swap tribes, and Eric breaks out the mutiny advantages. What's going through your mind?
Eric is a trip, man. He was definitely, like I said, he was out there. Look at him bragging. Golly, we get it, dude. Like, wait, is that him? That is Eric, right?
I assume it's Eric, yeah.
EHJ29 Model A. That's my guy. He was out there and aggressive with his gameplay. So he's the only one that knew I was a sports journalist, because he came up to me after we all talked about, oh, we're from this area, this is our age, and this is what we do. He's like, what's your real job? And I was like, oh shit. Like, he's putting me on the spot. And I was like, I'm a sports journalist. Like, I didn't want to pause or seem hesitant or like I wanted to just tell him, like, because I knew I needed Eric, so I told him, and he was the only person I knew the whole time. So he was aggressive in talking to people. So we knew that he got the mutiny advantage from Julian, because he kind of had that same aggressive like approach in terms of like, hey, you need to vote for Logan, because he wanted people to vote for Logan when he eclipsed over there after the eating challenge. And you need to give me your mutiny advantage, and I'll vote, and I'll give you immunity. I'll give you the eclipse immunity. So, and I didn't know that at that point. I didn't know Eric and Julian had a previous relationship, but we all knew that he did that. So, what was your question? I'm so sorry. What was your question? After the swap, the mutiny advantages. Yes.
Yeah.
So at that point, we knew the whole time we had 2 mutiny advantages. So we were just preparing for every scenario in terms of like, okay, if the numbers look like this, we give 1 mutiny advantage there, 1 there. And it ended up being 3-3, me, Anthony, Eric from yellow, and then Danny, Joe, and Vito from blue on one tribe. And then on the other side, it was Sam, Leah, Aaron, with Julian. Even he's like a bluish yellow, like he's in between because he was on blue and then switched to yellow. Julian, Nay, and Mary Ellen. So Eric ends up giving 1 mutiny advantage to the other tribe, and because we thought we had Julian on our side, we thought we had him solid at that point. So even though we were a little bit iffy, we were banking on that fact, and especially Eric knowing Julian, I'm sure he was even more sure. So he gives 1 mutiny advantage to Sam, and then he's about to give another one to Leah, but then people started talking like, no. We didn't really know exactly what the plan was when that happened, but we just knew we had to do it before the challenge, because you can only play the mutiny advantage before a challenge. So we had to give it to them over. So Sam announces, hey, I'm using this mutiny advantage. I'm going to go over to the other tribe. So then it makes it 4-3 on my side where I'm at. So we have the advantage there. Then someone else is about to use the mutiny advantage, and then I think it was Anthony that kind of interjected and was like, no, we don't need to do that, blah, blah, blah. It's 3-2. Like, we can just take out Melon and Nay, because at that point it was Julian, Leah, and Aaron with Nay and Melon, so we can just get one of those 2 out if they go to tribal, and then we have the 4-3 advantage if we go to tribal. So that was a great spot for us to be in. A lot of Survivor is luck and chance, and yes, you have to make your own luck, but sometimes luck just happens, and Eric definitely got the luck on our side by making it happen.
I know Eric threw at least the next challenge. Did you throw
Bro.
any either of these challenges?
No, and I didn't know. Like we didn't talk about throwing challenges again. Like I don't like throwing challenges, and I did from a personal standpoint when it got to the immunity part, but that's because I didn't want to
Yeah,
win the first few and be
that's
like, oh,
it's
this is
individual. That's
right.
that's different.
Yeah, and the team challenge is like, let's at least give him a fighting chance. Like we all got this far. One blue person from either side is gonna go home anyways, no matter who wins. So let's at least like win for them. So I was going all out in our two challenges that we had. The first one was there was
Like
this
a
crate. We had to tie a bunch of knots around it and then go over to the other crate and try and untie their knots that they tied, and then we solve a puzzle. And obviously we found out,
I
not
think I
found
think
out,
I think
like,
you're swapping them. So the first one is you have to transfer a ball
oh,
through
okay, so that
various
was first.
obstacles. Yeah, and then the second one is lock a box, try to unlock the other
Yes.
box, solve a puzzle. Julian solves the puzzle quickly for your tribe.
Yeah, because Anthony didn't put in one piece and he threw it. So and I didn't know, I forgot that it was swapped. So yes, the first one was transferring the balls. Me, Anthony, and Joe were the three that were transferring it. I think Danny sat out because we had seven, they had
Yeah.
five. So we sat out Danny and Sam. Um, so me, Joe, and Anthony are transferring the balls, and we get there pretty quickly. Like, and I felt like if we would have had more opportunities, we could have done more. But of course, Eric, because I wanted to do that part. I wanted to do that part where I'm lowering
Yeah.
into the thing, and I would have tried. I would have definitely gotten
Yeah.
it. I felt like that was like my thing to do. And Danny also wanted to do it. And when I left, I thought Danny was going to be the one to do it because I saw him with it, and I thought it was kind of established that he was going to do it. And then Eric, again, being aggressive, which is great. Is great for me because it puts the spotlight on him. Basically, kind of like took that part. Yeah, Danny was moving, dude. Like he was jumping up. He's an athlete. Like I think between me and him, in terms of like explosiveness and agility, probably the best athletes out there. And I was super impressed watching that. Because again, I analyze football players, like I see how their change of direction is, how their agility is, their vertical, whatever. Like he was an impressive athlete. And he had to jump up on this platform and put the ball on the thing that Eric had so that he could put it in the bin. And of course, Eric kept missing on purpose. So Danny had to keep retrieving the ball, getting back up there, blah, blah, blah. Eric was perfect to throw both. But I don't see the. Yes, maybe because we consider Danny, Joe, and Vito bigger threats than Melon and Nay is why, but like why not just do the challenge outright and then one of the blues goes anyways? Like it doesn't matter, really.
So
So I didn't throw the challenge. That's all I'm gonna say.
so you lose the challenge, and
Yeah.
it's clear you're gonna have your pick of who do you want to go home here, right? Leah's a club stover. She's not gonna give immunity to any of the original blue tribes. So Joe, Vito, or Danny, what's your read on the three at this time?
I'm gonna tell you who I wanted first, and that's the person we got out second. So again, I saw Vito come over from the Eclipse and was like, he's really good at drawing people in. He's social. He laughs. Like he makes me laugh. His smile lightens up the whole room, and he's a great person. Like, and when before we swapped, we were kind of talking like who would be the first target, and I was pitching Vito. Like I was pitching Vito to be the first target because he is so social. Um, and Leah was very adamant about not getting out Vito first, and I was like, "There's something there. Like there is something going on." But I didn't know about the Rhode Island Alliance. I didn't know about all that, but I knew something was there. And again, I know I have a previous relationship. I don't know about other previous relationships, so I just assumed like, "Hey," and then I think I told Anthony like, "Hey, do you think that Leah was pretty adamant about not targeting Vito?" So I wanted Vito to go first when it was swap 4-3. But we ended up voting for Joe because everyone else wanted Joe. And I felt like I could have worked with Joe. She was a little bit more soft spoken than Vito and Danny. Like Vito and Danny, I feel like it was almost like the Three Bears with them three. Joe was maybe considered the biggest physical threat, but also she was the returning player, so that's another level to her threat level. Danny was social, but like more loud and boisterous and very obvious with it, while Vito was the one that was just right. Like he was the guy that was like would fly under anybody's radar, would not get detected, and would get to the end and be the most likable person, boom, he's the winner. I saw that from a mile away. So I wanted Vito to go. And of course we say Danny should have been first after the fact, but that you can't really read that in the moment. And at that point I knew that Vito was my biggest threat. So I wanted Vito to go. We ended up voting Joe instead. And I knew I wanted Vito next if we were to go again. So we ended up going Joe. I felt like I could have worked with Joe because we had good conversations. I know she's a badass mom of 6 and she's out there. And I feel like if we were on Original Tribes, we also could have worked together really well. So yeah.
You lose the next challenge, and this is again straightforward. You tie it up between Danny and Vito, and whoever is eclipsed is safe, and whoever isn't is out. And Mary Ellen gives Danny safety. And with that, we move to the merge. But before merge happened, well, I guess as part of merge, 2 players are returning to the game. Which 2 players would you have liked to have seen come back to the game?
Hey, so a few things before I get to that.
Okay.
So during the Vito vote out, I don't know if you watched that episode, but that was the most emotional episode of the season. The night before, again, I probably had the least amount of sleep out of anybody on the cast. And it was fine. Like, I felt like I had a limited energy. I could have gone another 8, 16 days, whatever. But it was one night where I probably slept for like 30 minutes or an hour, and then I woke up shivering, and we were all in the tent, and I didn't have like a blanket or anything because all the blankets and pillows and things were taken. And Vito was on one side of me, and Anthony was on the other side. And they kind of both felt me shivering. Like it was like my whole body was shivering. Like I could not calm myself down. I could not sleep. I could not relax. And I had never felt that before in my life. It was crazy. And I would have been okay with staying up all night again. Like I could have, but Vito felt me shivering. We weren't like on each other yet, but he had like a little tarp blanket. So it wasn't like a super comfy plush blanket, but it was like a tarp blanket. And he put that over me and then also put his back on me so that I could get warm. And then Anthony, the same thing, like came over and like put his back on me so I could get warm. So like that was, and Vito, at this point, Vito knows he's on the bottom and knows that like I'm kind of his enemy. But it was one of the moments I'll never forget because even though like we're all competitors and we all want to win, you're still a human out there in the elements. And that's why I love this game so much, is because it's such a dichotomy of like, I'm a good person and I want to do right by these people, but I want to win. And when we voted out Vito, like we talked about it and I cried just because of what happened the night before. And we found out, you know, he said in that tribal that he fought cancer, and he's just an amazing person. So I just wanted to highlight that before we move on to the next part, because it really was like a human moment in a ruthless, cutthroat game. And after that, so your question was about the merge and who I want in the from the Shadowlands I want back. So before I get to that point, it was 10 people in the game. So you know, we later found out that it was 2 to make it 12. But when we were on the swap tribes, we obviously just voted out Vito. So it was me, Anthony, Eric, Sam, and Danny. And then the other side is Aaron, Nay, Leah, and Julian. And Melon. Sorry. So it's 5-5. We wanted to target Aaron because we knew he had an idol. And we had this 5-person strike force, and we were going to try and bring in Melon because Danny was close with Melon to get out Aaron, to take out that idol. Like we were into like, but that was under the notion that it'd be 1 person coming back, because that would be 6 against 5.
Yep.
But because 2 people got brought back, it made it 12 instead of 11. So that's an even number. You can't do anything with 6 people unless the other votes are split on the other side. So that plan got put to a halt because of that. Plus, Aaron, when we merged, Aaron came up to me again and kind of reassured me that he trusted me and wanted to work with me. And I forgot what he said. I think he was good, man. Like he was good at like keeping his social power with his idols. And I think it was one tribal council where he was like, man, I think I would have played it on you, which I think he did that to a lot of people, but he was like, I would have played that idol on you. And I was like, I can't vote out Aaron. And I told you what he said after that confessional. He was like, my gut is to tell me to trust Rafa. And I want to like, and the funny thing is, this is the funny thing. So he said after that confessional that like, hey, I told myself I can trust Rafa. And then a snake came out of the grass. And I was like, that's a bad omen. Like, why? That's probably a bad signal. Like, why is the snake ratting me out? That's, I'll cut anybody, but like, I don't want that to be revealed. Um, but that plan got put to a halt. So at that point, the two people I wanted to come back from the Shadowlands were Larissa and I would say Logan, just because Logan and I obviously met that one night and talked to each other. We got good vibes from each other. Plus, when I didn't say this, but when Julian came to our side, apparently Logan told Julian, "Hey, talk to Rafa. He's a solid dude." Like said something along the lines of that. So I know that I could connect with Logan and bring back Larissa because Larissa knew that that vote was not my doing. I didn't want her to go in that moment. So those were the two. But then out of the four that were in the final part of that challenge, because it was multiple stages, and then it was four people making fire. So it was Garrett, Joe, Courtney, and I want to say Shannon was the fourth. It was four Lunakai members.
Yeah.
So there was no shot of any former Intaku members coming back in. But at that moment, I wanted either Courtney and Garrett or I wanted Courtney and Joe. Just because, again, even though we voted out Joe, I connected with her a little bit as much as I could in the short time that we had. And obviously, Courtney, like, we played together. There's a chance to have a redemption story. There's a chance to reconnect and really learn information from the other side, potentially, like, unfiltered. So I wanted Courtney. And I told her after the game, I was so proud of her. Like when she won that that battle back challenge, because I know that when we played our last game last year, she was going through it in person. I won't throw out her stuff, but she was going through it personally. And she took her vote out in that season really hard and was really hard on herself. And I could tell that she was a different person. And when she won the battle back challenge, because Joe won first, I believe, and then Courtney won second, like she was the second person to make fire. She like I saw the emotion and passion and like she was crying and I was but I had to hide it too because I didn't want to show that I knew her.
Yeah.
But I was so proud of her when she got it. And I was like, I told her after the game, like that's a moment I will never forget. Like you are a badass, you can do anything. And that was a really good moment. It was awesome.
So at the first immunity challenge for this merge tribe, you dropped pretty early, right?
I didn't want to drop early because I knew that that'd be too obvious. I got to fourth and dropped. So I got to the final four and dropped it. But it was a challenge where we're holding two sticks and a ball in between the sticks, and it's like at an angle. I could have gone a lot longer, but I didn't want to win that first challenge. So I got to fourth. I believe Danny was third, Joe was second, and then Anthony won that challenge.
So help me walk through the timeline here, because Eric finds a clue to the idol in the paint supplies, and he ends up sharing it with you and Courtney, correct?
Yes. So that night, because we knew Eric was the first one to drop out of that challenge, and Eric was already awake tending the fire, and then Eric was kind of near me, and Courtney was kind of near me sleeping. So Courtney gets up, and again, I didn't sleep that much out there, so I was kind of like half asleep the whole night, anyways. Like I wasn't fully rested, and got up. And he shows us this clue, and it's like a little basically a picture of a tree that's kind of like this, like at an angle, like a V.
Yeah.
And we were trying to figure out where it's at. So that's the merge idol. We knew that Aaron had the Intaku idol and then the replanted Lunakai idol after Logan went home, but this is now the merge idol. So we were looking for that. We were looking for all these V's. There were a couple right near in the middle of camp, right above the fire pit that we were looking at, and I kept reaching in there, thinking that they were going to put it in there at some point, but there was nothing there. And another fun moment that happened, I don't know if it was that same night. It might have been like Eric went back to sleep, and it's just Courtney and I standing at the fire because again, I'm just trying to stay warm because it's cold out there. All of a sudden, we hear a big in the distance, and we're like, "Oh shit!" Because we knew there were coyotes. Like we had heard coyotes. But that was definitely a bear. And me and Courtney both look at each other like, what was that? And it was so funny. We were like, holy shit, there's a bear out here. So, and it felt like it wasn't like super close, but it was close enough to have a little bit of concern. So, yeah, but sorry, Eric, I went off on a tangent again, but Eric showed us the clue, and then I'm sure he showed other people the clue, but we were the first two people he showed the clue. And then later on, of course, we saw me and Courtney are having a conversation, and Sam gets on Eric's shoulders and gets that idol. So, yeah.
So with this merged tribe, 12 people, what's your game plan looking like?
I know that if I can get past these first few votes, I can make it to the end game. And I consider the end game like final 7. So if I can get past these first few votes, I can get there. And at that moment, again, I knew that I was in a good position socially. I had Aaron, who had a big target on his back, Idol King, 2 idols, like he's going to be an obvious target. Anthony had just won an immunity challenge, and then obviously we figure out later he wins a second. He's the immunity challenge beast, even though I threw those first 2. And Eric is this guy that's finding an idol, very aggressive with his gameplay. Everyone knows that he kind of like wanted to target Logan when he eclipsed and got the immunity advantage from Julian. So those are my 3, in my mind, my number ones. Like those are the 3 that are around me. And I felt like I was in a good spot because I'm kind of going undetected. Little did I know that Courtney was kind of going for me ever since the merge happened. So I didn't know any of that. But at that moment, I wanted to keep Intaku strong for a little bit. I felt like the entire merge, and I'll dive into it later deeper once we get deeper into the votes. I was the social linchpin that held everything together yellow-wise. I think if it wasn't for me, one of the Dreamers is winning this game, 1,000,000%. Because again, there was a strike force to get Aaron, and then I kind of like deterred that because I like rebonded with Aaron and trusted him and knew that he had me. Aaron and Anthony and Eric did not get along, but I knew I needed Eric and I knew I needed Anthony. Anthony was going after Aaron, and at one point Aaron was going after Anthony, but I was like, I cannot lose any of these 3. So you 3 are going to have to get along at least for a little bit so that I'm not the next target, because I knew once one of them goes, I'm going to be the next one. So at that point, I knew a blue had to go first, and I wanted to work with Courtney under the radar. So again, I didn't know that at 12, she's like, hey, Rafa's this. I know him, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know this. This is her conversations privately. So this is just me from my perspective.
What are your conversations with her? What are your conversations with her like?
Completely honest. Like completely honest. When her name was out there, I told her, because I was like, hey, I don't know what it is now, but I know that you and Joe are likely going to be the targets because you guys are returning from the Battleland or the Shadowlands. And we wanted to get Joe out first because Leah's always been adamant about getting Joe. And even though maybe I could have worked with Joe again, I would have rather Nagon probably. But we go for Joe again because she got second in the immunity challenge, losing to Anthony. She's a beast. You know, you have the great story of being in the Shadowlands. So Joe goes home first.
So why would Nay have been your ideal merge boot?
Because I know I can work with Joe, and I know I can work with Courtney. Nay and I never really clicked on a game level. I don't think that there was like a moment just one-on-one, hey, I can work with you. Plus she voted for me that first vote. So that was like, okay, well, you're not with me. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, so that first vote's a 6-5-1, 6 votes on Joe, 5 votes Leah. You catch a vote. Did you probably had an idea the vote was gonna be pretty close, right?
Yes. I knew that Nay was voting for me because she said beforehand she was voting for me. So I thought that
vote for you.
She was like, I can't vote Leah because they bonded with each other really quick, which I didn't get. I didn't know where that was coming from, but I guess on the swap tribe they got close, and she was like, I can't vote Leah. So that's obviously the reason why Joe went home, because I got 1 vote. But because Nay told me she was voting for me, I thought everyone was voting for me. But they ended up all voting for Leah. And yeah, so that's how that went. I wanted to keep that relationship with Courtney and just make sure that I have those honest conversations. Like, if your name's out there, I will let you know, and I'm trying my damnedest to protect you. Like, I know that now that Joe's gone, they probably want you next, but I do not want that. I want to stay with you. Because in my mind, like, I wanted to work with the 3 people that I talked about, like my 3 number ones, but Courtney is a contingency plan and also potentially work with until the very end if the tides are turned against me. So like I have these options open to make sure that I'm in a good spot no matter what.
Talk to me a little bit more about Sam. Where is Sam in the mix of all this at the start of the merge for you?
Sam does a good job of flying under the radar. And I think at one point someone brought up like, hey, like Sam's kind of flying under the radar, but then we moved on to the next subject. So she was still working with Intaku, obviously voted with us. There was a couple times where she revealed afterwards she was on the fence of voting someone out from the original Intaku tribe. But overall, she was working with us. And that's because I felt like I was working with Sam closely, but mainly Aaron and Eric were. And
Did you know that she voted for Leah in that first tribal council?
yes, yeah, I did.
Okay.
Because there was one point like she had a vendetta against Larissa at one point because Larissa had voted for Sam a couple times. I had voted for Sam once, I believe. I think I only voted for her once in the beginning stage. Obviously, I voted for her later. But I think Leah also voted for her a couple times and like just wasn't vibing with her. And Leah was not liking the cigarette smoke. That really bothered her, and she was outwardly open about that. So they just weren't. They were not going to be together. So I knew that she voted for Leah because beforehand I kind of knew she was saying that, and then afterwards she confirmed it.
So the next mini challenge is the counting challenge, and Anthony wins this challenge too. You mentioned that this is another challenge you weren't looking to win.
I wasn't looking to win. I am a big math person. I do math puzzles and word puzzles every day. Again, like why can't we do more word puzzles, jigsaw puzzles, something? Instead, it was just endurance challenges that were hard on my lower back because I'm tall.
I feel the pain.
But yeah, I am a good math person. But even if I did try, the likelihood of me winning that challenge probably still low just because it is a game of chance. Like I think Anthony was only 4 away and Aaron was 8 away, so they were both very close to the total number because it was basically like, okay, this is at this station, count all these. This is at this station, and it was 6 different stations, and then give us the total number. So, and it was like 780 something, I think, was the final number. So it was a hard challenge, but I felt like I finished it very quickly. I was the first person to put in the number and submit it and throw the ball in. And I was at like 500 something. I know I could have done better. So, yes, I did throw that challenge, but still would have been hard for me to win, even though that's like, again, part of my skill set.
So the vote is pretty unanimous on Nay this round, and I know you mentioned Nay would have been a person like the target immediately because you just didn't have a the strategic relationship with her.
Right. Yeah. So, I knew that people again wanted to vote Leah, which I'm not sure where all this was coming from. And maybe I don't. Maybe it wasn't on Leah this time. I think it was kind of unanimous on Nay this time because again, I'm talking to Courtney, and that's like my gate to the other side, so to speak. Like I'm talking to Blue through Courtney, and they wanted a yellow to go, obviously, because Joe just went home. That's another Blue member gone. We already have the numbers advantage. I believe we have 7 in the game at this point, and they have 4. I want to say. So they wanted a Blue, but I knew I needed at least one more to go to keep the trip because and Julian. Sorry, I keep forgetting Julian is like a Blue member.
Yeah,
because he's like half blue, half yellow. Right. But I knew I didn't want Courtney to go. I knew I didn't want Melon to go. And I knew I didn't want Danny to go. So I wanted Nay to go because Leah and I, even though she voted for Larissa, me and her kind of got a little bit closer after that. I wish we could have maybe swapped together or something because we both kind of bonded over the fact like, hey, Anthony and Larissa were probably the top 2 and we were 3 and 4. Like you were close with Larissa and I was close with Anthony, but we can kind of come together. So I wanted Nay to go just because like I didn't have that much of a connection with her. I knew that Danny didn't get along with her. I knew that Joe didn't get along with her. I wasn't sure about Courtney and Nay, but obviously at that tribal council, Nay went off on Courtney. So obviously they didn't get along. It was a very emotional tribal just because she went off on one of her Nay rants. So I think it was best for the game and everybody involved that she went home at that point.
So going into this final 10 votes, you mentioned earlier there was this plan to target Aaron pre-merge. It feels like it kind of reemerges this idea like Aaron has 2 idols, and he's sitting on 2 idols. We need to do something about this.
This final 10 vote, is this the one where I win immunity?
You win immunity, the push me pull you challenge.
This one was like, this is my skill set. I'm not dropping for shit. Like, I will go for a long time. And it went for 46 minutes. I'm not gonna lie, Steven, I could have gone for like another hour because it's one of those challenges, like your arms are completely numb, but like mind over matter. Like you could I don't the footage is it's like 2 times speed or whatever, like fast speed. But I'm like, I take off my shoes, like just like I'm holding this, but I'm taking off my shoes and my socks with my feet. I'm like telling myself these, like I'm getting my mind like I am not dropping no matter what. I can push myself through anything. Like I was not going to drop for a long time. So, and Eric said he threw the challenge. Eric, I'll go against you in that challenge any day, buddy. I will do it. One thing I didn't mention in the beginning too. I'm sorry. We're backtracking to the very beginning. One thing that bothered me about the Lunakai tribe was Julian and I talked about it later, was that their stronger guys were avoiding me. Like they did not want to go up against me when it was one-on-one challenges, because I think we had 3 one-on-one challenges, and one of them was a sumo at sea. I go up against Julian.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with the ring, where you're both holding the ring and you have to get to the flag.
Tug of war, yeah.
And I go up against Julian again. And I was like, why am I not going up against Logan or Danny? And they did not want to go up against me. Like every time I stepped up and I was like, okay, Lunakai or Taku chooses Rafa. Like I look over there and they're all like, oh, like not even looking at me. Like I'm like, what's going on? Like I go out here to push myself against the very best. Like you don't want to go up against me. Like that's like, why are you ducking me? And I said that in the challenge. I was like, why are y'all ducking me? Like, because I beat Julian in like less than 5 seconds in both challenges because it wasn't a competition. And Julian knows that. Like we're good friends. It does not like trash talking, but like, why not put one of your bigger guys against me? And Danny, you don't want this smoke. I promise you, brother. I would have beaten you in both. And I love you, dude. I'm just messing with you. But I still would have kicked your ass. Anyways, Julian explained it to me that basically, if you're thinking the 3 strongest guys on Intaku and the 3 strongest guys on Lunakai, so in order, Rafa, Eric, Anthony, and then for the Lunakai tribe, I think it was he said it, Logan, Danny, Garrett. If it would have been just straight up in order like that, so me versus Logan, Danny versus Eric, Anthony versus Vito, whoever the third person is. Julian was like, we're probably losing all 3 of those matches. But if we do the inverse and we flip it, we have a way better chance of winning 1, maybe 2 of those.
Yeah.
So even though we had the stronger guys, quote unquote, they had the strategy and basically used me as like a strategy point, which I hated. Like I was like, dude, why are y'all using me like this? And those challenges, like I didn't exert any energy, and then all these other ones, like they're going on for like 5-10 minutes, everybody's exhausted, and I'm like not exerting any energy. Like I felt bad. Like I'm looking at my teammates and they're exhausted, getting water, like sweating, putting their bodies on the line, and I'm not I was like, I'm not doing anything. Like I felt really bad in those moments. Anyways, I don't know how I thought of that, but that was something that bothered me really early on. And where were we at?
You have immunity.
Yep.
Aaron has 2 idols. What are you doing about it?
So we again get the idea of Aaron's got 2 idols, and we want to play this. Does he play an idol at this tribal? Is that this vote?
He does play his first idol at this tribal.
Okay. So this is the moment where I convince him to play an idol. I go up to Aaron. This is after the last tribal, so this is before I win immunity. This is before this is coming back from the previous tribal where we get an A out, and I was like, "Hey, like, I've got this plan. Let's get a ton of votes on you, and you play your idol, and we get someone we want out." He wanted to target Anthony, and Anthony wanted to target Aaron, and again, that's not happening. I need both of you in this game. I need both of you to just get along, suck it up for a little bit so that I can make it further. Stop going at each other's necks. So Aaron is like, yeah, I'll do it, blah, blah, play the idol. Obviously, he didn't get the majority of votes. He only got 2 votes, I believe, that round. Yes. And I was one of them because he knew I was going to be one of the people that voted for him. Like that was pre-planned. And Leah goes home because, again, they were voting for Anthony. everyone that kept coming up to me was like, Anthony, 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 because he had won 2 immunities at that point. And I was like, I cannot lose Anthony. Because before then, I told after the Larissa vote, it was like a little bit after that. I was like, Anthony, we need to like kind of keep our distance, like not make it so obvious that we're number ones. And he was like, yeah, because we're both Latino guys, like kind of like how Danny and Aaron both identify with each other. They're both gay African American men. Anthony and I were the 2 Latino men out there, and I know Vito and Danny are also part Puerto Rican, whatever. But like demographically, you look at us and you're like, okay, they're Latino. Like Danny, you black, maybe mixed with something else, but you can tell he's African American. Anyways, we identified and we were close early on. Like if I were to I know you had the question to other people, like if you were to rank 1 through 9, your original tribe members, who's number 1? Anthony was at number 1 for my list. And it was probably Anthony, Eric, Larissa. You didn't ask me that question, but I'm answering it anyways.
Yeah, because you kind of already laid it out for me.
Yeah. Yeah, Latino gang, miss you too. So I did not want Anthony to go. So I talked to Danny on the hill and I was like, hey, because I knew that like they were going to go for a yellow no matter what. Like they were chomping at the bit for a yellow. Like as long as it's a yellow, they'll be fine. And at that point, Leah had already gotten a lot of votes. I was like, hey, I'm good with voting Leah. And I told Danny that. And then Leah went home. Because like, again, I think it was Courtney that came up to me and said Anthony. Aaron said Anthony. Someone else said Anthony. And I was like, he is not going. Like that is not going to happen. I need him in this game to be that shield. Because again, I'm in a good spot. I'm not the idol hunter. That's Aaron. He's got that label on him. Anthony's the challenge beast. And Eric is also considered like a challenge threat and playing aggressive. I'm just the guy that's here. Even though, again, I think I'm the social linchpin that's holding it all together while trying to work with Danny, Courtney, and Melon under the radar. So, yeah.
So you're kind of letting Leah go at this point, it seems then.
Yeah, it was like trimming the least important part of my game, which not Leah. It probably would have been Julian. Like that might have been the player, either Julian or Sam. That would have been least important to my game. But people want big targets in the 10, 11, 12 votes. Like they don't want to go after Sam or someone that's not a big target at that moment. They want to go after somebody that's like considered a big threat.
I mean, in retrospect, should you have forced it to be one of those 2 players instead of having Leah go out here?
Force it to be one of which 2 players?
Should you have tried to flip the vote onto Sam or Julian at this point?
I guess in retrospect, yes. Yeah, because again, they were chomping at the bit for any yellow, and Julian was a pseudo Intaku member. And then Sam. So, but again, I knew Sam was close with Eric, and I needed to keep Eric happy. I was trying to keep Eric, Anthony, and Aaron happy at all times. Like I wanted to make sure that like I was keeping them in the game, but also making sure that their agendas match with my agenda, whether it's I shaped it with how I said things and how I phrased things, or the allies that I could see that they had on the side also were in the game.
So Leah goes out, and this next challenge is an interesting one. So this is the Bush Guide trivia, where you do a trivia test based off the Bush Guide.
Oh
and
my
you're not
God.
going to know the results till after the votes are cast. It's going to act like a hidden immunity idol.
Right.
This is going to be a fun vote because it's going to be essentially a unanimous vote on Anthony. Now, Anthony's a player you're talking about, like, I need him in the game. I need to keep him. He's my shield. What led you to decide, like, I guess it's time for Anthony to go and I'm going to vote for him here? And then change your mind last second.
So the momentum was shifting onto him too much. And when people are piling on, and if you try and switch it, kind of how like Leah was trying to advocate for Vito to stay so hard, and how I like, oh, okay, you're trying to keep him in for a reason. If I would have advocated for Anthony too much, then maybe it's flipped on me, and I'm all of a sudden on people's radar, which I wasn't. I don't think I was on that many people's radar at this point, at least that outwardly. Like Nate gave me a vote, but I hadn't had any other votes up until this point. And again, I didn't know that Courtney was doing what she was doing. So, but at that point, and I felt very confident going into that challenge because that was, went to a tiebreaker. I went to UGA, top 20 university in the world. But I wanted to come off as this dumb person. But I felt very confident. Like going into that thing, I was like, I probably won this. And Anthony did a really good job. And again, he was like low key my number one. And I knew that he wanted to see me like go far. I knew that he wanted to see me go far. So we are sitting there on the stumps before any votes, and he turns to me and he's like, we're whispering to each other. He's like, I think I'm going home. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, who are you voting for? And I said, you. And he was like, and then all of a sudden I see his brain and mind like react, and his body like he's all slumped over and thinking and all this stuff. And then turns out, but I think it was Parker that was reading it, was like, blah, 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 got 5 questions right. Blah, 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 got 7 questions right. Anthony, you got 8 questions right. Rafa, you got 8 questions right. And then the tiebreaker at the end, Anthony, you listed 3 species of animals. Rafa, you listed 3 species of animals. So it was a tie all the way through. Complete tiebreaker. So we get up there and we're standing next to each other, and we both have our whiteboards ready to answer the questions. Again, I was confident in this. I read notes, study notes. I study statistics and people and names and places. And Anthony says, if you want my vote at Final Tribal, you throw this challenge right now. And even though it was like a strong arming moment, I also thought like, he's been my ally since the beginning. If I save him now, he will want to save me later. Yeah. Or at least like try and keep me in the game, because he knows that everyone else, because again, we're standing in front of everybody. He knows that everybody behind us is going for him. But if I save him, he knows that I'm with him. So first question I get right, second question I get wrong on purpose. Anthony wins. So he wins his 3rd immunity. And then we have this mad scramble because obviously Anthony got the majority of the votes. We have to revote.
Well, hold on. Anthony's safe.
Yep.
That leads Eric to play an idol, which leads to Aaron to play an idol. Now,
yeah.
Did you know where Anthony's vote was at this point?
I did not, but I knew that Anthony and Eric didn't get along, so I wasn't surprised that he voted for Eric. He did vote for Eric,
Anthony,
right?
Yeah, Anthony voted for Eric, but who do you wish Anthony had cast the hinky vote for here?
Probably Danny or Mellon at that point. Like, yeah, Danny or Mellon.
So, okay, all the votes are null. There's going to be a revote. Tell me about the scramble.
So it's a mad scramble. Like, that was crazy. I think I initially pitched Julian, but then somehow like Courtney came up to me at one point one-on-one and was like, hey, I'm pitching you. Like, I know my name's out there. And I was like, I haven't heard your name. Like, just vote Julian. And then all of a sudden a bigger group kind of got together and was like, okay, Julian. But it like my name was out there at some point. I don't know how much it was, but it was. I guess Courtney's name was, I got 2 votes. So, and obviously I just got second in that challenge. So, yeah. So that was a definitely a nerve-wracking moment. I thought that maybe I could have gone at that point. But again, like, Aaron didn't want to vote me out. Eric didn't want to vote me out. Anthony didn't want to vote me out. I think Courtney, choosing between me and Julian, still wanted to keep me over Julian at that point. And my social connections kept me in the game. So was saved one time, and I get saved again a couple times because of my social connections. So that was the first time.
So Danny wins the next meeting challenge, but Anthony, unfortunately, is medevaced and pulled from the game.
Man, yeah.
I mean, it's from at least talking to a couple of people. Do you feel like Anthony would have been voted out no matter what here, or there is a path forward that Anthony could have scraped by? You think?
So that first of all, just I'll describe the moment to the people watching. Like, Anthony was one of the final 3 in that challenge. Like, it was Danny, Mellon, and him. All of a sudden, because it's the challenge where you're holding 2 ropes and you're balancing a platform and a ball is on the platform. And if the ball rolls off, you're out. All of a sudden, I see him drop. He turns around, walks about like 3-4 steps, gets down on one knee. He turns over and looks at me, but he doesn't look right. And all of a sudden, I see him just collapse. And I was like, hey, hey. Like, I said it like that, like, hey, hey. And I ran over to him and grabbed him. And then everyone else kind of reacted to me going over there. And then like Courtney and Sam and I were all just putting cold towels on him, making sure that he was okay. And he wasn't all there mentally. Like his eyes would open occasionally, but you could tell consciously he wasn't there. So it was very, very scary. And obviously Logan had rhabdo before, so this was the second case of it during the game. But anyways, to your question, if it were me, I wouldn't want Anthony to go, but he was probably likely to go because of everyone else's agenda. He had won 3 immunity challenges at one point. If he comes back from the hospital and, is resurrected and gets back in the game, like that guy will probably win at that point. I felt like I could have had a good chance against anybody, but he was considered the biggest threat in the game at that point if he would have gotten back in.
So let's kind of take stock, right? It's the end of day 6. We're going to day 7. You're in the final 7 players of the game. So it's you, Courtney, Eric, Mary Ellen, Danny, Aaron, Sam. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great up until the point of the morning of day 7. Just because Courtney and I had one-on-one conversations every day before every tribal and sometimes before every immunity challenge. And that morning, I'm not like, I didn't want to come off of somebody that processes things quickly. I didn't want to but Courtney knows me. Didn't know me that well because it was a shorter game, and I won't reveal what happens in that season, but we didn't work together for that long. But she didn't talk to me that morning, and I see her have one-on-ones with Aaron, talk to Danny and Melon separately, and then a one-on-one with Eric. So she's talking to everybody except me and Sam, essentially, because she and Sam didn't really talk that much in the post-merge in general. So I was like, okay, she's targeting me. Like, this is the moment where she's targeting me. So
I guess before we get into that, I want to dig a little bit more about what you're thinking what your routes to endgame would look like. Did you have set final 3 deals? It sounds like you were comfortable sitting with most of the players at this point.
I was, because I'll just say what happens in Blue Ridge because it kind of helps my paint the picture.
If you're here at an hour 46, you're welcome. You're expecting to be spoiled, I guess.
Right. So in Blue Ridge, I got to the final 3, and basically in that final 7, it was 6 of us of a former tribe and then 1 person from the other tribe in the post-merge. The one guy from the green tribe kept winning these immunities. I think he had 2 or 3 at that point. And one of our blue members was one that battled back into the game. I was really close with him. And the other 4 people were mad that I was close with him and that I was keeping him in the game because they were like, you need to pay for what you did. Not pay for what I did. That sounds intense, but it was something like that. They were like, they were saying something like that. So those 4 turned on me, and I found an idol, took who I thought was the most social out of the 4 of them out, and then I took the other 3 out one by one. So the final 3 was me, the battle back person, and the guy from Green Tribe, because I was like, let's do this. Like, let's make it fair. And I couldn't trust those people again after they turned on me. So I played very well with my back against the wall, and I was in a final tribal. I lose a 5-2-1 vote to the battle back person that was on our original tribe. Even though I felt like I was making the moves, I was planting the seeds. I found 2 idols. I was the only person to find 2 idols in that season. And I set up that final 3. Like at the final 7, I was like, hey, let's let this be the final 3. And I made those moves to get to the end. But I had a bitter jury. And we're friends now, but they were definitely bitter at that point because they were all voted out within like 10 hours. Like they had just got freshly voted out, and I didn't get votes. The 1 vote I got was from someone on another tribe that I barely talked to. But anyways, got 3rd place. So I know what it's like to speak at a final tribal. I know what people value after they get voted out. I know that like how to conduct myself in a better way the next time I do it. So in my mind, I am picturing a final tribal speech. What I'm telling you about being insulated and keeping bigger threats in front of me and being the linchpin socially, all of those conversations in my head about my final tribal speech. And I was very confident that I could speak better than anybody because it doesn't matter what game you play. If you can speak and connect to people the best, you're going to be the winner of the game. So I knew I had a better, even if Anthony was in the game, 3 immunity challenges, resurrected by Jesus himself, whatever, comes back in the game, I think I could have beaten him too. And he says that he would have beaten anybody, but I felt like I could have beaten anybody. That's just me. I felt my winner equity growing. I felt my confidence growing. I felt I'm going to the end. So to answer your question, did I have paths to the final? Absolutely. Aaron and Eric come up to me. Do you want this to be a final three? Three big threats. Idle King, Eric, me. Let's do it. Then Aaron pulls me aside later. Hey, do you want to do a final three, me, you, and Sam? And I was like, yeah, because I considered Eric a big threat from the beginning. I'm okay with anything. And I would have been okay with going to the end with Courtney because for me, like, I lost to a battle back person in my first season. If I can overcome this obstacle and go against another battle back person in the final and win, because I desperately wanted to heal from that last game because uh again, they were my former allies, and like going into the merge, we were the five that went in, and like before then they were like, I would be happy to vote for any of you to win, and then obviously I was the one exception, none of them voted for me. And I was like, did the like, you have all those thoughts because I know you were a finalist too and you lose, and it's probably the toughest thing to go through. Like going out the way I did in this game was much better for my mental than that game. And I wanted to heal because you have all these thoughts of like, did these people even like me? Like, was I too malicious of a game player? Am I a good person? Because I know I tell myself, like, if you want to win Survivor, you have to be a good person. You have to be likable first, because they're not just going to hand people the win and the money, even though this is only $1,500. But like real Survivor, $1 million, they're going to give it to a good person no matter what. So I had all these thoughts, and it like kind of tormented me for a while. And I really, really, really wanted to heal from that game. And that's why when I told you in the beginning of this interview, I wanted desperately to focus on bonds and relationships and being genuine about everybody having a good time, a good experience. Because no matter where you place, hopefully you had a great experience. You found a newfound confidence in yourself. Because I know what it's like to psychologically torment yourself for months of like, what did I do wrong? How come I didn't connect with these people? All those things. So it kind of sucks that like my trauma from the last game got brought into this game too, and was the reason why I got voted out. It felt like, which we're not at that point yet, but I'm just saying that that's kind of how I felt. Like even though I was, and I felt like I played it, even though I was a finalist last time, I maybe felt like I played a better game in the beginning stages first than I did in that game. So, I had those deals with those three. I didn't really have an intention of working with Danny and Melon to the end. But before then we had like a six, and I know you talked to Aaron about this too. Before then we started forming a six of 3 yellow, 3 blue, which was Danny, Melon, and Courtney, and then me, Aaron, Sam. Those would be the six. And that ended up being 6 of the final 7, of course. We never really fully solidified that, and I knew that Melon and Courtney were going after me, so it wasn't really. It was like the shakiest 6 ever. It wasn't a sexy 6. It was a shaky 6. So, yeah, and it's a little tough because it was very emotional because again, like I have all these thoughts after a game, like thinking that I have friends and stuff, and then none of them vote for me, and I reel these thoughts of, did I even connect with them? Am I a good person and stuff? And I wanted to heal, and I felt like I brought a great energy and enthusiasm into this game. And then I'm being told I'm vicious and aggressive. And then later on in the why am I forgetting the name of the challenge of like the superlatives, like the biggest snake and like the smelly touchy subjects? Like I was voted the biggest snake, and I was like, dude, like I just can't shake this. And I don't feel like I'm that way, but I'm being told I'm that way. So what am I doing wrong as a person to make people think of me this way? Because even though I'm a big guy and I'm a physical guy, whatever, like I have feelings too. Like I try and connect with these people, and I'm being genuine about people having a great time and connecting with people, but I'm being told I'm these things, and it was very heartbreaking in the moment. Like when I was being told these things, it kind of paralyzed me. Like I told you about my previous game, Final 7. I'm very good at playing with my back against the wall, and I felt like that when I was told those things, and like my old game got brought up, and I'm being told that I'm this like malicious person, it like paralyzed me, and I kind of took my foot off the gas because I just wanted to prove within myself that I'm a good person. And I felt like I left my foot off the gas even though I shouldn't have.
So Courtney telling people, hey, I play with Rafa. This is what Rafa's really like. that really kept blindsided you?
Yeah, I knew she was against me. I just didn't know to the extent of what she was saying until I saw the, the videos and confessionals and the, the one-on-one conversations afterwards. But Aaron was like, "Did you play a game before?" Because I told people that I hadn't played a game before. And even though it was just one, like it's not like I've played a million
Yeah.
games. It was just one where I went really far.
Yeah.
And he was like, he pried it out of me. And I was like, yes, I played a game. And I told him exactly what I told you. Like, I'm actually a really good ally. Like, all of them got to the end. They turned on me first, which is why I played an idol and got them out. Like, it wasn't like I am this like cutthroat killer person. Even though you kind of have to, you have to exuberate some of that in Survivor because you just met these people a few days ago. And if you want to win, you do have to cut ties. But I'm not like this super malicious person that I'm painted out to be. And even though like I tried my best to paint that picture off of me, it disrupted like everybody's picture of me in their heads. Like they all look, I could tell by the way that they were looking at me that I was getting looked at through a different lens. Like they put on a filter and looked at me a different way because of what they were told. And apparently she had talked to Danny and Melon and I think Joe earlier in the merge of who I was and what happened. And she even came up to me, I believe it was at the like beginning of the merge, either at 12 or 11. And she was like, and I was literally like, I'm with you, Courtney. Like, I'll be honest with you in every conversation. She was like, are you sure? Like, I can tell these people that you played a game and what you've done and all this stuff. And I literally told her, is like, that's okay. Like, I don't take that because I knew she was trying to threaten me, but I was like, I don't take that as a threat, Courtney. Like, I take that as an opportunity for us to rebuild and put water under the bridge. Like, I told her that. Like, she thought I was going to shake in my boots after she said that, but I really wanted to keep even keel and was like, I'm willing to work with you. Like, I think that this could be a good redemption story for both of us. Because again, I wasn't afraid of going in the final three against anybody because I had final tribal experience. So even if I went up against the battleback person again and lost again, it would be heartbreaking. But I at least got there and I pushed myself and I proved that I belong here. I belong in these LRGs. No matter what people tell about me, I am a good person. I get along with people. And both of my games, my top allies got to the final 7 and the top 8. So you tell me how malicious and aggressive and cutthroat I am when everybody got to the top working with me. So, but anyways, Courtney and I laughed about this afterwards. Like, this is not an attack on her by any means.
You've talked through this together.
Yeah, we have. And we'll joke about how I've always been the pebble in her shoe that she just can't get rid of and all this stuff. So it's funny, but in the moment, like it was really, really heartbreaking to go through that. And then never mind, we're not at the final 6 yet, so we'll get there first. But yeah.
I mean, had this not happened, what would your move have been at final 7?
Danny or Melon, but I think Melon won immunity.
Mary Ellen won immunity, yes.
Yeah, so Danny would have been my vote. Yeah, because I didn't want to see Courtney go. Like, even though she was the battleback person, and I think at that point in everyone else's eyes was the bigger target, she painted a bigger target on her back by saying what she said about me. Because even Eric was like, "Oh shit, like she's a good player. Like she's using this to her advantage." So that's why, even though I was painted in a bigger light, that's why she was a big target as well on that final 7 vote. If she hadn't done anything, like if she hadn't done that, I would have done my damnedest to get Danny out. But in that moment, the vibes were she's going after me because I see her talking to everybody else except me. So I knew I had to bring my big guns out at that point.
So going into the votes, did you feel like you had it, or you're like, I just don't know where someone's was 3-4 or 4-3?
They said afterwards that they were in between them, but I knew that I did a good job of talking to them and solidifying with them, meaning the former Intaku members, so Sam, Eric, and Aaron, that I was with them. So I felt confident that Courtney was going home.
So Courtney out at 7. And before we
Yep.
talk about actually the final 6, can you walk me through who you'd like to see voted out 6, 5, 4?
Probably in that moment, I would want to see Melon go out at 6, Danny go out at 4, and I would say Eric out at 3 or at 4. Sorry. Melon 6, Danny 5, Eric 4.
And that puts you, Aaron, and Sam in the final 3.
Yep. And again, I would have been confident against Eric because you saw his tribals. No offense to Eric, I love Eric, But he goes on these soliloquies where like you get lost. So even talking against him, I would have been okay with. Like, because I know that I can be concise and persuading and
Mhm.
convincing and also connect with people on a personal level at the same time. So I knew that I could talk against any of the final six. So even though Mellon might have been considered the biggest threat at that six,
Mhm.
maybe, I don't know, you would have to ask the jury before then, but I was also told when I went to the jury, like people were going to vote for me if I got to the end. Um, but I think Mellon was the second biggest threat after that. What type of pasta am I on? What type of? Oh yeah, Eric. That's Eric talking about the pasta. Like he goes on tangents that don't make sense, and you lose people. Like people were like people were starting to fall asleep in their chairs because he go on for so long. So I had confidence in going against Eric too. Um, but if you were to ask me again, Mellon, Danny, Eric, that would have been maybe my choice.
So you survived. You scraped through in this vote against Courtney.
Yeah.
Touchy subjects. Aaron wins. You already alluded. You get some nominations you're not thrilled about. You said you won like biggest villain in touchy subjects.
Biggest snake, yes. But like
Biggest thing.
Steven, how else are you going to get through the grass undetected if you're not a snake?
There
Like,
you go.
again, the tallest weed in the grass gets cut. I'm trying to hide my game as much as possible so that I'm not targeted first. Again, I am mainly the merge boot. That's like, even Stan, like one of the big guys on production afterwards, was like, "Yeah, I was the first merge boot." Yeah, dude, like that's normally what happens in Survivor. So I'm gonna do what I can to go undetected and then strike. What's wrong with being a snake? But in the moment, I took it hard just
After everything else has been there.
because everything else that happened that Courtney said, and the winner of that reward challenge, because that was a reward challenge that Aaron won, where he went to the gas station, which
He takes Sam. He takes Sam and
I
Eric.
know, and it was because like Sam got second, I think, is why he took Sam, and then Eric got third, or I think it was like rock paper scissors or something. Why Eric went, and I was like, "Fuck, dude, I should have gone on that one." Because if I would have gone on that reward, it would have put me in a better spot to get past that final six vote. Because I would have been there with Aaron and Sam and talked to them, but then instead I was back at camp with Danny and Mellon, who I know they're targeting me. They've been targeting me for the longest time, and it was tough because that was the loved one letters as well. Like they got
Yeah.
the loved one letters on that thing, and because I'm being told I'm like all these things that are negative, I wanted to hear from my fiance like really bad in that moment. Like she knows who I am as a person and knows that even though I love this game where it's cutthroat, it's I have good reasons. I play this game because uh, it's been the biggest dream of mine for a long time. And I know when you lose hope and you lose your dreams, you perish. And I've met a few people in my life that have committed suicide because they have lost hope and dreams.
Mhm.
And I wanted to be an advocate for that and also men's mental health because they were all straight Latino men like me. And so I do it all with good intentions, even though like you do have to be a competitor. But you can be a warm friend and a ruthless competitor in the same vein.
Yeah.
And I kind of like, I wanted to say this when I got on here because I know people are watching too.
Mhm.
The LRG community in general is very proud of being very diverse. Like I was glad to be like not the only POC because my first game I was one of two POCs. It was just me and one uh, black woman. That's it. Like it was just one Latino man and one black woman, and everyone else was white. Um, like a big part of the LRG community is like the LGBTQ community as well. Like a lot of powerful women and a lot of LGBTQ community. But I understand that man hate is very real in this world. Like there's one thing to be an advocate about the LGBTQ community and or strong women, but you can easily overcorrect it and without knowing it being man hate.
Mhm.
And I know that it's very real in this world. I've felt it. People that I know have felt it. And I just want people to know that like it kind of reminds me, I don't know if you watched Survivor 47 where
Okay.
Teeny just hated Sam for no reason other than she reminded of or that he was reminded of someone that was in high school with him. Like just because a man is strong and confident in who they are doesn't mean that they're the bully that you had in high school.
Mhm.
Like my brother is gay, my cousin is trans and non-binary. I very much try and consider myself down to earth with people because when they meet me, they're like afraid that even though I'm different, I might not connect with this person that's like a sports guy. But I try and be down to earth and make sure that people feel safe and secure and connected with me. Like you don't, and this is not because of me. Like it's not woe is me, but this is just like a message for everybody watching. Like, yes, be an advocate for the LGBTQ community and women, because obviously, there are men that are very misogynistic and homophobic and all that. But this community is so strong. Don't overcorrect and ostracize the strong, confident, powerful men as well, because you could.
Inclusivity shouldn't come with a side of exclusivity.
Right, exactly. And Sam said it earlier in the game too, that like it felt like she was being bullied by jocks and stuff, and I know that part of that was targeted towards me, when again, like I felt like I was friendly with Sam. And I just know that like people's minds can go there without them knowing, like just kind of subconsciously, because of trauma they've been through or bullies that they've had in the past. So that's all I wanted to say. I'll stop on that subject, but I knew I wanted to say that going out there because I felt like I was nice in all of my confessionals and very friendly with a lot of people, but just still told that I was vicious and aggressive when I know in my heart that I wasn't. Again, I wanted to hear from my fiance because she knows who I am and she knows how I try and make people feel appreciated and heard and valued no matter who you are. So I wanted to hear from her. So after that final 6 challenge where I lost, and it was kind of the nail in my coffin because it was Aaron and Eric and Sam that went, and I didn't get the letters, like I was super emotional after that because I'm being told I'm a snake and all these things. Like that was definitely like the low moment in that game. It wasn't even like getting voted out. It was that moment right there.
So Mary Ellen's going to win immunity again.
She's a beast.
And you are under fire once again.
Yep.
So what are you
for
doing?
like 4 votes in a row? Like I can't shake this off. And again, my social connection saved me in the votes before then. But and again, like I felt I let my foot off the gas because of what I was going through in my head. And it felt like I wanted to heal from my last game so bad, like so bad. I wanted to prove to myself that I could win, but I wanted to heal from my last game because I told you of what I wanted to focus on, like the relationships and making sure everyone has a good time. And I wanted to heal from that so bad, but it just felt like everybody was talking to me differently and looking at me differently because of what was spilled and what was said. And then everyone votes to me to be the biggest snake with not really much evidence other than one person telling me that I'm this. And I know I could have done more. Like Aaron said that if once Eric gave Aaron the idol, like Aaron was thinking of voting for me. Like if I had turned to him and said, hey, like if you play this for me, like I'm with you, he would have played it for me. I don't know how accurate that is. I don't know if he would have actually done it, but he said that like I could have done more, but I kind of checked out because of that moment. Like it was again, big guys have feelings too, man. Like I was not the same after that. I was not. So yeah.
I mean, it's a rock and a hard place. You and Eric are both under fire. There's 4 votes on the other side. And they're going to split between you. Eric has an idol, but like playing on you is essentially voting himself out of the game at that point.
Right, and it was interesting because it was 4 votes on me, 1 on Eric, and 1 on Sam.
Yeah.
So, and even though they were splitting the votes between me and Eric, I knew that I was the target. Like if they had their way, Rafa's going out at 6. So I was trying to signal to Eric, play it on me, and potentially it's 3-1, and then 3 on me, 1 on Eric, and then we have 2 on Danny, and we take Danny out.
But I think
But
I think from my understanding, the original plan was going to be like a 2-2.
Right.
Split.
So not much done there. But I'm just trying to convince him. I'm trying to save myself. So I knew that wasn't really going to happen. But I was like thinking that in my head, like they do want me out over Eric. So
could you have won? So let's say you find the idol, you play the idol for yourself. Could you have won the final 5 immunity challenge? You think?
I could have won the final 5 and definitely the final 5 and final 4 immunity challenges. Like I am an endurance beast. Like running and doing a puzzle or doing something, like that's what I do. So when I saw that final 5 challenge, I was like, no way. Like another thing towards my skill set. And then the final 4 where it's like grabbing the puzzle pieces and then putting them on the stairs.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, this is my wheelhouse. Are you kidding me right now? Like if I would have just gotten past this one vote, I'm in the final 3,
You could have won out,
1,000,000%.
maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you are now in the jury. What are you looking for in a winner? This is your first time on a jury, so
Yeah, so definitely a different feeling being on the jury than like having the anxiety of having to talk to the jury. It's definitely more fun and less nerve-wracking. So at that point, I remember in the exit interview right after I got voted out, I was like, I'm either voting for Aaron or Eric, more than likely.
Mhm.
And I'm just looking for someone that gives it their all, like really plays this game to its fullest extent and not really taking any prisoners. Like you are doing what's best for you. Because once you get to that stage in the game, like final 7, final 6, final 5, as long as you get to the end, like it doesn't matter what happens, honestly. Like it might a little bit like you picture the final 3s and you make these deals and stuff. But if you can just get there with your own volition, then that's something in itself. So, yeah.
What was the vibe of the jury like when you got there?
So in that when I got voted out, they all stood up and put their arms behind their back like David from 48 when Mary got voted out. So I was very they boosted my ego in that moment. I was like, "Oh shoot." Like and then when I got there, they were like, "Man, like we were going to vote for you if you got to the end." So I was like, "Ah, shit. Like why couldn't I just gotten there?" And it was very fun. We played games. We played Squid Games that night, which was a lot of fun. No, Traders. Sorry, it was Traders. Like just like with production and the cast that got voted out that night, and mainly Julian, but a lot of the people were just talking game. Some people didn't want to talk game at all, like they were just done with it. So the jury members, but Julian is a big strategic mind, and so am I. So me and him were darting ideas back and forth, and just like, no, but Danny did this, and like Aaron did this really well, and like, hey, man, Mary Ellen needs to do this, and we were just talking about all 5 remaining members and what happened, and also what happened in the game previously.
So going the final tribal, it sounds like Aaron maybe was your front runner who you were going to vote for.
Yeah, between him and Eric, one thing that but between I think what Aaron did impress me was even after he played his 2 idols, he kept his social power. Because again, I noticed trends and patterns and dynamics. The biggest thing you notice in the merge is everyone wants to talk to Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
People are waiting in line to talk to Aaron. Someone else talks to Aaron, and then someone's behind him like, hey, I'm going to talk to you after you talk to him. Everyone wants to talk to Aaron, and it's because he has 2 idols. But after even he played this 2 idols, because that was at 8 when he played both of his idols, he still is in the game and is with Sam, with Eric, with Danny. So with me before I got voted out. So he does a very good job of holding that social power despite playing his 2 idols. So that was impressive about Aaron. Eric confused me a little bit with his giving his idol to Aaron. So I think I said Eric because he was one of my top allies.
Yeah.
But and I considered him a big threat in the beginning because I know his like 57-year-old guy, like I'm 28, and this is tiring for me. This is tiring for everybody here. But this guy's not complaining at all. He's grabbing trees. He's making moves. He got the mutiny advantage at the swap that got us the big numbers advantage. And I know that he found 2 idols, so he's also a big threat in that aspect. Yeah.
So when at the end it's Danny, Sam, and Aaron, are you like, what % chance are you going in saying I'm voting Aaron?
Probably like 65 to 70% I'm voting Aaron. Like before the final tribal council and even after the jury roundtable, I think a lot of us, like everybody almost, was leaning towards Aaron, except for I think Anthony and Eric were the only ones that were Sam all the way. And I was kind of like, Sam is under the radar and did this and did that. So I was like talking all the reasons why each final 3 member had an argument in my head. And even at the final tribal in my question, I commended each of them and told them, hey, you did this well, you did this well, and you did this well.
Mhm.
But after the jury roundtable, before final tribal, I'm thinking I'm voting Aaron.
So in tribal council, let's leading up to your question, what are you hearing that's changing your mind?
I think I'm still leaning towards Aaron before my question, honestly. But after a question happens and someone's standing up and talking, the rest of the jury kind of talks to each other while people are answering the questions. And Aaron was a little bit wishy-washy with his answers, like not really committing to I did this because of this. Like, I want to see some ruthlessness a little bit. I want to see some, like, okay, I did this because you had to get out because of this. Like, just tell me straight up. Like, even when I asked about my vote out, because Danny and Melon for sure were voting for me, and Aaron, Eric, and Sam, when me were the four, like, we could have gotten one of them out. Why did one of us go? Like, why did I go? And neither of them could give me an answer, Aaron or Sam. And I was like, why don't you just tell me? Do you tell me because like you didn't think you could win against me at the end, or you thought I was going to win challenges? Like, tell me why I was getting voted out and what your thought process was. But it was hard to. He was just saying that he didn't want to disrupt the waters and uh, keep everything at bay while keeping people happy, which I understand. And me and Aaron are good friends. Like me and him have bonded after the game and during the game. And he said that he struggles in his real life being a people pleaser, and I completely understand. And because I can get that way too, I definitely can. And but in that moment when you're answering a jury question, like you want authentic, 100% honesty, no matter who it hurts or who it offends. So when he was a little bit wishy-washy with his answers, which I understand his strategy, like it's to keep the people in the game that are not going to vote you out, but also keeping them happy, like making sure that they're not like, oh, maybe I should go for Aaron next. Like you don't want that. So I understood what he was saying, but he needed a better way to connect. But he was first boot in his original season in Bluff Ranch, and then got all the way to the end, found two idols. Like he has a great story and a great argument.
Oh, uh, that's abrupt. Let's hope that Rafa is able to rejoin soon. I mean, we're at the 2 hour 17 minute mark, so not all right. Here we go.
Hey,
Did you,
my
did
bad.
you,
I accidentally clicked something, which I told you I would, and I accidentally clicked something and exited out. Um, so, um, and this is just my 2 cents. I don't know how accurate this is, but I think the three biggest threats to win the game were voted out 6, 5, and 4. I think,
that's generally how Survivor works. Yeah,
right.
that
Yeah.
happens.
So people weren't that I wasn't a bitter jury member, but
Mhm.
people on the jury, I won't say who or whatever. Obviously Anthony was. He will admit that. He'll probably comment something here. People were bitter. People were not happy with the final three that ensued. And so people were looking at every excuse to like condemn people versus like congratulate them or commend them for it. Um, but yeah, I think that each of them had an impressive game. Like obviously Danny, after the swap happened, he was the last blue member, like voted out Joe, voted out Vito, got out by the skin of his teeth, made it to the end, made sure that he forged a connection with Aaron to get further. And then Sam, obviously, with the Eclipse theme, was probably like her and Nay were the biggest targets with the Eclipse and made it through, then turned it the heads and went with people to the end that she thought she could win against. So all three of them had a solid argument.
So ultimately, what persuaded you to vote for Sam?
I'm friends with Sam. I'm friends with Aaron. I will say this on the pod. I wish I would have voted for Aaron. I just knew that everyone was voting for Sam because, again, on the jury, everybody's whispering, and I just kept hearing Sam, 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 Sam. And I knew that Julian was going to be the only person to vote for Aaron. And I was even like, Aaron deserves at least a vote. But I still ended up voting for Sam. But I wish I would have voted for Aaron. And even though I knew he wasn't going to win because I knew everyone was voting for Sam, in my head, my criteria, my thing, and my fiance is probably laughing right now. She's sitting right here next to me because she was like, "You should have voted for you. Like, if you said it, then you should have done it. Whatever," which is true. But I wish I would have voted for Aaron. He would have been my vote to win the season.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was after party for you?
It was great, man. I loved it. There are some wild people on this cast. Like we got down. This shit was crazy. Okay. Yeah, it was so much fun. Went to the brewery, got the awards. I got the eclectic diet award because I ate a worm on day 1 and a grub on day 7, and of course ate cat food and other worms and sauerkraut and stuff. But then I also got the Kill 'em with Kindness award because in my confessionals I was really nice when I voted people out with a smile on my face. And um, then we went back to the house where the jury was, and yeah, Anthony's still going to be bitter against me to this day for us not getting to the end. So he's going to keep saying that. He said, "Aiden, laugh at him, please." She's laughing. Great job. But it was a great time, and I talked to Aaron separately afterwards because he was decompressing, and I know what it's like to be a finalist and lose. Like that's why I was kind of empathetic in my question for the jury, because I know what it's like to go through turmoil for months after losing the game. And so I talked to him and helped him process it, and I'm sure he's still going through it because you really don't ever let go of it. It's just like less over time. So but it was a great time, man. Like even though you had some painful moments and everything, I pushed myself to the limit. I made it to day 7. I made it to the final 6. It was just the experience of a lifetime. I love Survivor. Would 100% play it again. Would recommend it to anybody that wants to push themselves and do something new and meet people from all across the country. It was a great time. I loved it.
One thing that surprised me about our conversation was how this process has also been a part of the healing process for your experience in Blue Ridge Survivor. Do you feel like there's been progress in that regard, or it's really going to be something that kind of happens once the Blue Ridge season 2 finishes airing? Maybe you have a chance more to talk about that in a setting. What do you think?
Yeah. I feel like I came in with a different approach to Reelfoot, and I was proud of that approach. And I told you what my approach was. I first wrote down 3 R's. Like I wanted to be resourceful, I wanted to be relentless, and I wanted to be Rafa. The 3 R's. I wanted to be myself, I wanted to be relentless and resourceful. And I felt like I was those 3 things. I wrote that down, manifested it, did it. I wasn't relentless until the end. I felt like I put my foot off the gas. So regret that. So maybe that's the other R instead of relentless. Regret instead of relentless. Shit.
No, you don't want to bring that. Don't bring regret into your next game.
Yeah. But no, I was very proud of it because I knew I did better this game. I know I'm a good person. And I think it was Danny I talked to about this. This is a game where you seek external validation, but meaning the jury. Like you need other people to approve who you are to be proud of yourself. But no matter what, like I'm going to have internal validation that I am who I am and I belong in these games. I am a great player and a good person. Got 3rd first game, 6th the last game. Like I'm a powerhouse. I'm a force to be reckoned with. And you can be a ruthless competitor and a warm friend in the same vein, in the same sentence. And I don't regret anything that I did in the game other than taking my foot off the gas and not not playing the game as hard as I could until the very end, but I was my authentic self. I enjoyed every moment. Like I was the barefoot guy out there. My feet were stinky and doing all these challenges and eating worms and grubs, but I got the absolute most out of this experience. And I loved every second of it, despite the ebbs and flows and the valleys and the peaks. So overall, I came in with it with a lot more pride and a lot more like in a better place than when I came out of Blue Ridge, for sure.
Good. Well, I look forward to hearing some of the post game stuff you're able to do with that on the podcast for Blue Ridge Survivor. That'll be excellent.
Yeah. Hey, that's coming up at 10 o'clock if you want to watch. I'm helping analyze Blue Ridge season 2, episode 2 with Rye and Emma and Shay, 3 other castaways on that season. So tune in and watch.
Well, let's wrap this up so you can actually have a moment to get water, go to the bathroom, and like prepare yourself before that. So I have some rapid fire questions for you. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready.
What's one piece of advice you would give yourself if you go back in time before you played Reelfoot?
Before I play Reelfoot, oof. Don't throw any challenges, man. You could have broken the record. I won 1 challenge. The record is 3. I could have won 4 or 5. So don't ever, because it's not who you are to throw challenges. It's not who you are to not give your best. So don't let your foot off the gas despite anybody trying to attack you or to manage your threat level. Just go all out.
Both seasons you played of Survivor have had a redemption component. Would you like future games to also have redemption? Would you like to play without redemption?
I would say without redemption. Just because I would say without redemption unless it's one player. I think one player coming back is okay. I think 2 is a little bit too much. Because if you get voted out, you get voted out. And this is just me personally. This might come off as arrogant or whatever. I don't see myself as a pre-merge vote out person. Like I see myself as a person that always gets to the merge at the very least. So if I earn that spot and someone else got voted out, they got. Like that's the game of Survivor. Like not every season has a redemption person. And I know that it's, these LRGs, you don't make any money, you actually pay to play, and people want to be there and have a great time. But, you earn that spot. So I would just say no. Not every season. I would say some seasons yes, some seasons no.
You find the key to open the lockbox at your initial camp. Do you share the contents with other players?
Yes, because I don't think you can do that so discreetly with 10 players. So definitely, I open it as a tribe. Maybe give it to someone else or something. Like maybe act like I can't open it and give it to someone else. Like I don't want that. I don't want a public advantage on my docket.
Favorite challenge?
Ooh, man. Not the ones against Julian, dude. Like, you didn't last that long, bro. Come on. Like, let me go up against Danny or Logan or even Eric, even the people on production, because I was like, why are y'all ducking me? Like, I was talking to the other tribe, like, why are y'all ducking me? And they, like, Stan and Storm and one other person was like, I'll go up against you, Rafa. And I was like, I promise you don't want this. Like, you don't. I will. Like, I have a lot of rage in me right now because they're ducking me. Anyways, that's not the answer to your question. It's supposed to be rapid fire. Don't go off on a tangent. Ooh. I'm gonna go with the slingshot just because Blue Ridge, I killed it in the slingshot challenge, and then I did again this season. Like I felt like Davy Crockett, just like breaking those things. So and that helped us get the lead in that first immunity challenge win.
What was your favorite moment at camp?
I know it 100%. So after Anthony got medevaced, they were like all concerned for our health because Logan got rhabdo and went to the hospital, and then Anthony got rhabdo. So never happens, but Final 7 gets all this food because like Danny, Melon, and Courtney went on a movie reward, but then Aaron, Eric, Sam, and I stay back, and they bring us all this food like ground beef, peanut butter, some fruit, and banana pudding. And Eric had Eric had too much banana pudding and was farting the entire night. Like it would not stop farting, bro. It was so funny. Like it was every like 5 minutes you just hear it. And it's like this 57-year-old mountain man in the woods just farting. Like I'll never experience that again. That was definitely my favorite moment in camp. That's like I'm just a simple I'm a simple guy some too. A lot of guys just like farts and think they're funny. I think they're funny too.
Who do you wish you had an opportunity to play with but never had a chance to do so this season?
Ooh, that's a great question. I would say Courtney to a full 100% working with because like I was 100% in. She was not. And that's okay because things happen in our game. I won't say it because people might watch Blue Ridge season 2, which is coming out every other week. It'll come out next Sunday. 2 episodes are already out. Go to YouTube. Mm-hmm. But other than Courtney to 100%, I would probably say Melon because again, I sat with her and I knew she was targeting me too. Again, part of because of what Courtney was saying to her about me, but um, again, we bonded on that first day when we all got there. But she was like, "Man, I could just never trust you," and I was like, "Yeah, because fucking Courtney said that shit about me." So I would say Melon and then Joe too. I would say Melon, Joe, Courtney.
Who surprised you the most?
Ooh, who surprised me the most? Anthony, 1,000,000% Anthony. Like I was the only person in the game he did not hate. Like he not maybe not hate. Hate's a strong word, but like when I saw his confessionals afterwards, and then also being a part of that final tribal, I was like, this is a whole side of Anthony that I did not see at all. And when I got home, Aiden, my fiance, and her mom, they kept up with Reelfoot the entire time, like day to day, like watching it while they're work because they work from home and they were watching it on the big screen as well. And they were like, Anthony is freaking ruthless and like saying all these things. And I was like, I was still just confused. Like I did not see him in that light at all because I was his number one ally and he liked me actually on a personal level and wanted to work with me. But everyone else got a different version of Anthony and I never got that. So he surprised me after the game hearing all that.
Reelfoot's having a returning season next year. What one player from your cast besides yourself would you like to see come back?
My clone. No, I'm just kidding. Uh ooh, other than me come back, I think Anthony's already a shoe-in because 3 immunities, got Rapto, had the iconic thing. So I think he'll already be back. So I'll count him out of this. And I would love to see Anthony there. I'd like to see Aaron there. Because again, I tried to help him and Danny go through like the losing finalist thing because I know it's a hard thing to go through. And um Aaron and I again connected on a personal level on one of the first few days on Reelfoot, and he's just a good person. Like I know he went through the loss of his dad 5 years ago before his first game and really redeemed himself and was such a strong player in this game. So I'd love to see him return too.
Well, Rafa, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate going through everything with me tonight and hearing. But I'm glad this has been a beneficial healing process to just because losing these games sucks and is really hard.
It does.
And it takes a lot to kind of come to terms with that experience.
It's a different kind of sting, but I think going out 6 because you're considered a big threat is better than not getting votes at the end. It's definitely hard. Like I know Aaron and Danny are going through it. It's at least just from my perspective. Other people might think other things, but I think to your point, healing, understanding who you are, and I still prove to myself that I can get to the end game and be a strong player. So this is a game that I've always wanted to play. Before I played Blue Ridge, I was like, man, I'd be so good at Survivor and like I would do this and blah blah blah. And I've proved to myself that I can do those things and I can play this game at a high level. So if you're a Survivor fan, or even if you're not, and you just love competitive games and putting yourself out there and meeting new people and being outdoors and going to the elements, definitely apply to Surviving Reelfoot. It was an amazing experience, something that I'll never forget. And maybe if you're not that big of an outdoors person, start with Survivor Blue Ridge. It was a 3-day game. You get rations. It is on a campground, but it's not like super outdoors. It's like glamping more like. So definitely recommend it to anybody watching, especially if you're a Survivor or reality TV fan.
Rafa, again, thank you so much. Thank you for everyone for tuning in, especially some of your castmates. This has been another episode of the Live Reality Game Podcast. Don't fret, there are more interviews coming. I apologize for the slow start, but soon Anthony, soon Julian, soon some other players as well. So get excited.
Awesome. Hey, the people watching this, like you, Steven, you don't have to apologize to anybody of if and when you do this because we're at 2 hours and 33 minutes now, and you take all this time out of your day to do this for free and just because it's something you love and you know a lot of other people love. So we appreciate you for giving us the platform to be our survivor therapist, so to speak, and just vent and talk about everything. So thank you for being here also. I appreciate you.
Well, again, thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in and have a great rest of your evening, everyone.
You too. Thank you, Steven. Bye.